Alsop and James Vincent top of the order, Sam Northeast, Joe Weatherly, James Fuller, Lewis McManus, Ian Holland, Chris Wood, Mason Crane, Shaheen Shah Afridi, who'll be an interesting one to watch in search of his first wicket in the T20 Blast, and Ryan Stevenson. So who got your eye on?
Interesting really that both sides are playing an extra seamer instead of a spinner as per their previous 11s in their previous games. So Murtagh coming in for Holman, that's a real shame. He would have played, of course, so Middlesex would have had 2 spinners had he played. But Hampshire have opted to drop one of their leg spinners with Stevenson coming in. So both sides thinking that perhaps seam the way to go on this pitch.
Absolutely, and it looks as though if you look at the Knight Frank player of the match over the last few weeks, it's been the batters at the top of the order. We've seen Stevie Eskenazi with his back-to-back, and Luke Holman, the one picking up in the end. But I wonder who's going to be the Knight Frank player of the match this time round. It was spinners that dominated in Surrey. Do we think, therefore, it's going to be Stephen Finn leading the way with the wickets?
Well, he's in very good form, isn't he? He's up there with the leading wicket takers in the competition. He's got 9 so far, Stephen Finn. Him and Tom Helm have both been very good at the top of the innings, really, for Middlesex. They're not going to be in action first up, of course. It's going to be the batsman, and which is the way Middlesex like to do it. They like to bat first on the whole, even though they've only won 1 toss so far in this competition.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I think each time we've seen either Max Holden or Eskenazi, when Middlesex have found themselves in a good sort of winning position, it's been one of those two that have gone big and gone through. But it's that middle order. So Dan Lincoln, it's a very young one, Martin Anderson, Jack Davies. Even John Simpson's the one with the sort of the most experience under his belt. But yeah, I'd quite like to see somebody different maybe with the Knight Frank player of the match.
Well, the middle order certainly need a bit of a bat, don't they, at the moment, because Stevie Eskenazi and Max Holden have been in such good form. The only consequence of that, which isn't good for Middlesex, is that the guys coming in down the order may feel a little bit out of nick. They haven't had too much of a hit. So perhaps if one of those openers gets out early, it won't be the worst thing for some of those guys coming in 3, 4, 5, as it will give them the chance to play a substantial innings.
Well, it's almost game time, so let's take a look at Middlesex's walk-on VT before we get underway, and we'll be back for the first...
So, Max Holden and Stevie Eskenazi.
So here we are, ready and raring to go. Stevie Eskenazi and Max Holden to open the batting for Middlesex. And I see a familiar face walking towards us. And it looks as though Shaheen Shah Afridi will be opening the bowling for Hampshire. I wonder, well, he's in search of his first wicket from Middlesex perspective. I'm sure they'll want to deny him early on. And so far, so good for these 2 openers.
Yeah, big test for Max Holden and Stevie Eskenazi. First up with the left arm genuine pace of Shaheen Shah Afridi. Granted, he hasn't got a wicket in his 7 overs so far, but surely that first wicket not too far away. He is a quality operator, and they would love to get one of these 2 early, Hampshire, because they have been scoring the lion's share of Middlesex's runs. Here we go then, first ball, Shaheen Shah Afridi to Stevie Eskenazi. And that's a good start by the Hampshire paceman. Eskenazi just safely blocking that one. We've got 2 fielders, of course, outside of the 30-yard circle for these first 6 overs. We've got a 3rd man and a deep square leg as it stands. One slip, and then a ring field on both the offside and the leg side of 3 fielders. As Afridi comes in again. Big swing this time from Stevie Eskenazi. He's confident, certainly in T20 terms, in perhaps the form of his life. 240 runs at 48, 3 50s. And not just that, Izzy, but a very impressive strike rate as well, 154.
Well, it was right from that very first match that Middlesex played down at Sussex, the abandoned one in the end, where Holden was the one that got the century, but it was Eskenazi that was really timing the ball from the start. I mean, he went out for 20-odd in the end, but he's come to the crease every single time and looked confident, looked poised, and timed it from the off.
Oh, very full that time. Eskenazi squeezes it away off the inside edge. Don't think it'll quite get to the boundary. Good bit of fielding there, down on the boundary. By quite sure who that was, but it was whoever was out there on the deep square leg boundary. Great bit of work, and they come back for a couple.
They've upset the Lord's turf as well. They've had to pat it back down. You can get fined for those kind of things around here.
A bit wider that time from Shahin Afridi. That is Stevie Eskenazi's area. He loves playing through the offside. Can give himself room. Happy to go up and over as well occasionally. But couldn't quite get the middle of the bat down onto that one. It's been a decent start this by the 20-year-old Pakistani fast bowler. He'll be desperate to improve on those first 2 performances. 7 overs, none for 67, economy rate 9.5. He's a much better bowler than that's for sure. Well, again, hanging it a long way outside. That could have been called a wide, you'd have perhaps thought, but it wasn't. Eskenazi really reaching for that one.
Yeah, it's almost the downside of Eskenazi. He has been playing at every single ball that comes towards me, as he has done throughout the tournament. But of course, once you reach it and once you're sort of within striking distance, you kind of negate the opportunity for the umpire to call it a wide, even though had he stayed still perhaps and played it down the line, that may well have been straying a little bit too far outside off as it was. Nice dot ball.
That's definitely a wide. That's gone a long way down the leg side. Swung a bit, I think, that one, particularly after it went past the batsman. Lewis McManus got a half a mitt on it, but not enough to stop it from going to the boundary, and that's some much needed runs, albeit not off the bat, for Middlesex in this first over. 7 without loss after 5 balls.
You almost feel as though Shahin Afridi he's trying too hard. It's sort of a cliche in cricket, but no wickets there, trying to show what he can do. That he's the marquee signing, of course, for Hampshire. Played extremely well in that Pakistan-England series earlier in the summer. But in search of that elusive first wicket in this competition.
Again, hint of shape into the right-hander. Eskenazi does well this time, gets some bat on it. They are through for a single. 8 off the first over.
Not a bad start, all things considered. Holden yet to face a delivery. And beautiful sunshine here at Lord's, as we said, almost perfect cricket weather. And Shahin Afridi still waiting for that first wicket. James Vince, the captain, just having a chat with his bowlers up at the top.
Yeah, it's going to be more left arm seam from the nursery end in the shape of Chris Wood, vastly experienced left arm seamer for Hampshire. Was a key member of their T20 title winning side in 2010 and 2012. And he's coming in now to Eskenazi, who takes another single and drops his bat on the way through. He's managed to catch it on the bounce. Good bit of handwork there by the 4-day captain.
Well, they say you need hand-eye coordination to play this game, so there you go.
He showed
evidence
it there.
of.
Yeah, you couldn't quite see it on the camera, sadly, but he dropped the bat and it bounced straight back up into his hands off the turf as he was coming through for a single. So Holden now finally gets on strike for his first delivery. He's also in excellent form. Pulls straight away. Out to the man in the deep. Great bit of fielding again on the boundary there. Tom Alsop out on the boundary. That's 2 good bits of fielding from him in these first 8 balls. And Holden is off the mark with a 2.
So we saw last night Surrey beat Essex in their South Group match. A couple of others going on around the ground today as well. Kent are in action over in Canterbury, playing Sussex, so they're playing at the same time as this one here. I'll keep you up to date on the live scores there. England, of course, in action against Australia yesterday in an eventful ODI. Some pretty impressive bowling from both sides.
Holden cuts. Again, looks like he's going to get a couple here. Shaheen Shah Afridi goes round at third man. Gets the ball back into the wicketkeeper. So quite a lively start from Max Holden. A couple of 2s in his first 3 balls. He's 4 not out. 13 without loss off 1.4 overs. Cutting again, and this time he may well get 4. He's just beaten the man at backward point, and that is the first boundary of this Middlesex innings. Really nice cut shot from Max Holden. Beautiful placement, just getting it past James Fuller at backward point. And it's another decent start by the Middlesex openers. Early days, but 17 without loss. Second over not complete just yet. Well, quick single. Well run, well called in the end by Max Holden. There was a man in there, is he? Just inside, well inside the 30-yard circle, but they still managed to sneak 1 to him. This has been a positive start.
Yeah, no, it's almost, because we're getting worried from Middlesex perspective, we're almost getting spoilt by the starts that we've seen from these 2 batters at the crease. Not only do they throw their hands at everything, and more often than not it's come off pretty well, but they run so well between the crease as well. 2 still young men in their careers, but Eskinazi and the Holden partnership is something that Middlesex have been, well, I mean, we've seen lots of very big name players over the years, imports coming at the top of the order, but this is such an opportunity that they're really grasping, and so far so good. Long may it continue.
Absolutely, from Middlesex's point of view. 430 runs between them so far in the tournament. Afridi continues. Nice bit of bowling. Bit of a flirt from Max Holden. It's been a good start by the Pakistani left arm quick, barring the 5 wides in the previous over. But he looks like he's a bit more on the money so far today than in his previous 2 games. He's got 1 slip in at the moment. He's got a deep square leg and a third man to Max Holden. And then 3 on the ring on either side. Oh, sent back is Max Holden by Stevie Eskinazi. They might get an overthrow here. They have, which is a nice bonus for them, but I don't think there was one there. Max Holden eager rather to come through. I think Eskinazi made the right call there.
Yeah, absolutely it was. It was one of those where you thought, yeah, absolutely not a run. Good to see the intent from Holden, but then it was a wayward shot at the stumps at the striker's end by Sam Northeast, the 4-day captain for Hampshire, and they've stolen a single.
Oh, big hoy across the line from Stevie Eskinazi, trying to bring Shaheen over to the leg side. Saw a big gap there over mid-wicket, but quite a tough shot to play that with the ball hanging outside off stump the way that Shaheen is bowling it at the moment. No slip, incidentally, for Eskinazi. That's come out. So an extra man in the offside ring. bowls hard, and that is going to be the first 6 of the game. Great shot that from Stevie Eskenazi. Sailed about 10 yards over the head of the man on the boundary.
You have to feel for Shaheen there. That previous delivery, he really did win that one. Beaten Eskenazi all ends up tailing back into the batter. A broad smile cheeky smile across his face as he walked back to his mark, but then that one just held up a little bit too short. And the way in which Eskenazi has been playing so far in this tournament, you can't bowl there to him.
So Middlesex away, 25 without loss. Freedy in again. Again, it's a bit short. This time, no run. Eskenazi trying to manoeuvre the ball into the offside, but they've now got 4 men in the offside ring, so it's going to be a bit harder to get that single in there. But nevertheless, I'm sure Stuart Law and the Middlesex bench, dugout, wherever they are at the moment, will be pretty happy with this start. Last ball of the 3rd over coming up. That is another big 6 from Stevie Eskenazi. It's like an action replay of the previous 6, straight into the mound stand. 31 without loss.
Wow. The welcome to the T20 Blast continues there for Shaheen Shah Afridi. 2 6s off that over and 2 overs bowled. He's gone for 21 runs. So, well, when you've got someone like Eskenazi facing you up, then it's pretty tricky.
Yeah, really upped the ante in that over, Stevie Eskenazi. Very quick to pick up on those 2 short deliveries from Shaheen Shah Afridi. Middlesex going at over 10 runs and over now. And it looks like we have a change in bowling for Hampshire. It's going to be the American international all-rounder coming on to bowl, Ian Holland, who opened the bowling in Hampshire's previous game against Sussex, which they lost. The keeper will be up. He'll bowl a mixture of cutters and back-of-the-hand slower balls with the odd quicker ball thrown in. And that's edged by Holden. Great stop by the man at short third man, who was Shaheen Shah Afridi. Otherwise, that was going for another boundary. Good start by Ian Holland, though, finding the edge straight away. And he's a handy bowler. Yeah,
and somebody that's really sort of wormed his way into the Hampshire setup, coming across first of all with I think a British passport on his mother's side to play in the red ball stuff, and has become a really reliable all-round player for the Hampshire side. And now getting a few starts with the white ball too.
Another dot ball looked like that was a pace-off delivery from Holland, which is what he tends to do in this format. He actually has opened the bowling and batting in the Bob Willis Trophy for Hampshire, so when he bowls in the 4-day stuff, clearly it's more traditional seam up, but he adapts when he's got a white ball in his hand. Down the track, Holden, that's gone straight up in the air. Should be an easy chance this, and it is taken. So first wicket down. Max Holden having a big go at Ian Holland, and it hasn't come off. He is out for 12, and that's a fairly simple catch in the end for Hampshire to take.
Yeah, James Fuller, former Middlesex player there at backward point, stuck in the air for a little bit, but it's a nice blue broad sky up in front of us, and well, Holden must have seen the way in which Eskenazi's playing the ball, wanted some of it as well. Hasn't faced quite as many deliveries, but Ian Holland, we talked about sort of nagging line and length, a very reliable cricketer for Hampshire. The red ball stuff, the white ball stuff now too, perhaps not quite the pace of Shaheen Shah Afridi, but he's done for Holden. He departs for 12, Middlesex 33 for 1.
So that brings Dan Lincoln to the crease. He's moved around the order quite a bit so far in this tournament. Gets the opportunity at number 3 today. he's one of these Middlesex batsmen who hasn't had too much of a hit so far in the tournament. Just 48 runs at 16, highest score 24 not out, strike rate 117, so he could do with some time at the crease.
Yeah, we saw him against Kent at 24 off 9 balls, not out 24 in fact, in that tie, and so we definitely saw what he's capable of, but I think a bit of time in the middle will do no harm.
Top ball to start with, just tries to cut Holland through the offside, doesn't beat the man. Multi-talented sportsman, Dan Lincoln. He's been a semi-pro goalkeeper. Not quite sure if he's still playing, actually. He may well still be playing, but he's been involved before when he was younger with the Reading Academy. Probably explains why he's such a good fielder. Been involved in a couple of excellent catches so far in this Vitality Blast. Steps across his stumps there, manoeuvres Holland into the leg side, and it'll just be the single. So Dan Lincoln is off the mark. Sorry, that was Eskenazi, rather, taking the single there. Lincoln back on strike now. So this will be his first ball. And he's away straight away. Again, just dropping the ball in the leg side. Taking the single. And that is the end of the over. 35 for 1. A good first over by Ian Holland. Hampshire certainly needed that breakthrough, you felt. And maybe you were right there, Izzy. Maybe Max Holden just got a bit carried away with Stevie Eskenazi's form in the previous over.
And it's difficult too as well to have got sort of 5 runs from the wides of Shahin Shah Afridi when you're seeing more runs coming from extras perhaps. We only saw 1 boundary before Stephen Eskenazi in the previous over from the pavilion and smashed those 2 sixes into the stands. When you just want to get into the mix, sometimes you can be a little bit too eager, but it's not bad. It's not so far from Middlesex, 35 for 1, 2 overs left of this power play. And as long as you've got Stevie Eskenazi in the middle, you feel they're on for a good start, good platform to set.
So Shahin is off, 2 overs, none for 21, and Wood has swapped ends. So he's coming in now from the pavilion end for his second over. Starts off with the dots to Lincoln. Very handy bowler is Chris Wood. Must be great for James Vince to be able to call on him both at the start and at the end of the innings. Loves bowling when the pressure is on, either during the power play or we've quite often seen him bowling the last over of innings and winning games for Hampshire. Oh, chance for a run out. Slight miscommunication between the 2 Middlesex batsmen, but I think Eskenazi managed to get back quite comfortably there.
I'd be surprised to see lots of mixing and matching of the bowlers today. I mean, that's a fantastic first over from Ian Holland. 1 for 4 off his first over.
Oh, tries to get his cut shot away there, but too close to him, beats the outside edge. Interesting field, is he, for Dan Lincoln, in that you've got a ring field of 4 on the offside, you've got a mid-on, short fine leg, and then the 2 men out are deep square leg and cow. They're actually quite close together.
I reckon he has a pretty good bottom hand, that one, Lincoln.
Oh, is that touched something? Yeah, it's come off his pad.
Yeah. I wonder if it's brushed the outside of the thigh pad as it's come through. But yes, Lincoln, we've seen, has some really feisty blows that he can unleash towards that cow corner mid-wicket boundary. And there are a few pitches over from the sort of the middle of the Lord's field, so shorter boundary certainly.
Oh, tight single, might be out for hits. Stevie Eskenazi would have been well gone there, and he wouldn't have been very happy with Dan Lincoln. There was never really a single there. The fielder at backward point, James Fuller it was, ex-Middlesex player, probably had 3/4 of a stump to aim at.
Yeah, and we saw Eskenazi, he almost pulled up before he even got to the other end because he knew that if it was a hit, he had absolutely no chance of making it through. A few words perhaps between the two in the middle.
This will be a much easier single for Eskenazi. Takes it to mid-on, but a good over that for Hampshire. Again, that's 2 good overs in a row. 37 for 1 now off 5 overs. Just shows you the value of taking wickets in T20, really. Middlesex were chugging along at about 10 and over. Then Holden went, and just the last few balls, Hampshire have been able to find a foothold in this game and string together a few dot balls.
So that pace off the ball, we saw it in the match against Surrey. We're seeing it now with Ian Holland, a slightly slower seam bowler. And just means that when you've got someone like Holden, you've got someone like Eskenazi in the middle who like to throw their hands at it, doesn't run away with quite the certainty as we're going to see Holland continue from the nursery end, right arm over.
Oh, another tight single, but this time safely home is Dan Lincoln. Interestingly, Ian Holland told his wicketkeeper to go back for the start of this over, but then still started with a slower ball. Bit of kidology there. Same field as we saw in the previous over with Chris Wood, so the 2 men out, deep square leg, and a sort of squarish cow corner, probably only about 40 yards apart.
Padded back, dot ball, 2 off 7 then, Lincoln. Just, you can see, starting to think about what's going to come next. Square leg out, mid-wicket when the final over the power play. So once we're through that, they can push a few more out into the offside perhaps. But yes, you can see where he likes to target his shots, Lincoln. Down the track, soft hands. That's the way to do it. And you've got someone like Eskenazi who's seeing the ball, timing it nicely. Rotate that strike. Preferably don't run out. Run him out as well. I was going to say captain, of course, red ball captain Eskenazi. Finn with the armband in the white ball stuff. But a senior player now. I always think of Eskenazi sort of when he made his debut 4 years ago. He's sort of a mainstay in many formats now. Nicely pushed into the onside, slightly over pitched there from Holland. But they've kept those 2 out for Eskenazi as well. Out at square leg, mid wicket, and there's a huge. It is quite noticeable actually how far across the pitch is. Almost on one leg of the media centre. So far over is it to the right hand side. So big, expansive outfield out on the square leg. And it gives opportunities like that to be able to drop and run. Soft hands, that's good rotation. Just wonder if then have an eye on the fact that that power play is about to end.
You're right, it's a really long way out there, isn't it, on this side. Bowling from this end out towards
final ball of the over, and it's played nicely down to third man. It's going to be a misfield. They'll come back for 2. And Ryan Stevenson there just not being able to pounce on the ball, but it does mean at the end of the power play over we saw an explosive start from Middlesex. They went away pretty quickly in the first 3 overs, but Hampshire, certainly since the introduction of Ian Holland, have dragged it back a little from his 2 overs. Just 10 runs coming. We saw Max Holden fall as well in his first over, in Holland's first over. So 43 for 1 at the end of the power play. 6 overs left. Change of bowling then from the pavilion end. Ryan Stevenson. That's one hell of a hand he got to that. Stop the ball racing back down. Just a single then. Middlesex 44 for 1. The sun is well and truly out. There's a few clouds dotted around the sky. The flag rather limp over the grandstand, but we don't mind that. St John's ambulance crew on the side. There's a few of them spotted around, sitting out in the sunshine. I think we might get a bit of sun on the terrace soon, I hope.
It's just creeping round, isn't it? We're a bit covered here, though, unfortunately. Fingers crossed.
Fuller ball, nicely played out into the offside by Eskenazi. Fuller out on the boundary. Difficult to gauge right now who's on top. You almost think that Eskenazi in, as long as he's there and timing it nicely. Middlesex have every opportunity to capitalise and make a good total, but equally, I think Hampshire buoyed by the Holland return so far, the fact they've got Holden early, the power play hasn't run away from them. Aerial into the offside, and Fuller's got some work to do, but he'll make it in time. So 2 from that delivery. I'm trying to think, I think we've seen 1-4, there was a wide, and then we've seen 2 6s from Eskenazi, and that I think is the extent of the boundaries.
Yeah, he picked up on the 2 short balls very quickly, didn't he? On this short boundary over by the mound stand. A bit harder to hit a boundary over towards the grandstand, quite a long boundary out there.
Drop and run this time from Middlesex, and that's really, really well done between the wickets. Lincoln there knew exactly what he was doing. He had a useful ally in Eskenazi coming from the other side. Yes, we've seen, so Holden got 1-4, and then otherwise those 2 heaves into the onside by Eskenazi off the bowling of Shaheen Shah Afridi. Not quite the same regularity as perhaps Middlesex are used to in these first few overs. It's almost a similar way they played against both Essex and in fact that tied game against Kent. It was much more a rotation of the strike, fewer boundaries, but you felt it's quite a comforting feeling because you saw the scoreboard ticking over. But then I think we saw Zach Crawley for Kent come in and just blast it round, and you thought, oh my goodness. This is beautifully checked over the top of mid-off. And well, when you time the ball like that, as Dan Lincoln just has, who needs to blast it into the stratosphere? 4 runs then for Middlesex. They've got their 50, 53 for 1. It's taken 42 balls to achieve it. And they're going at a run rate just under 8 and over. So yes, an interesting period of the game. Middlesex, I think at the moment, will be pretty comfortable with that, especially the way these 2 are looking out there. A nice little platform to get things started.
Well, this could be a key part of the game now. It looks like Mason Crane is coming on to bowl leg spin for Hampshire. He's been their standout bowler so far this season, not just in this tournament. He's picked up 5 wickets, which is more than anyone else in the Hampshire squad, but he had an excellent Bob Willis Trophy as well. 14 wickets at 13 in the first class stuff, so putting his name very much back in the England frame. Of course, he's played 1 test match, which didn't go too well. We all know that, in Australia. Quite a long time ago now. Well, it feels like it.
It's a different world back then.
One for plenty. But as a white ball bowler, he's certainly improved, and he's got a very good overall T20 record. Actually, his economy rate is under 7. Economy rate this year, just 5.2.
Yeah, that's why I saw him in the white ball bubbles for England over the summer at various points. Yeah, not only does he top the wickets for Hampshire, the economy as well. Yeah, that's a pretty task to achieve. Mason Crane.
Yeah, he bowled well in the televised game against Sussex as well on Thursday night. Didn't take a wicket, but was very economical in a game that Hampshire ended up losing. But similar to Adil Rashid, he's not the easiest leg spinner to pick, and he gets plenty of revs on the ball.
Something that certainly from an England perspective is very encouraging. Okay, I think there's been sort of long questions over the red ball spinners, but in the white ball game, you've got Adil Rashid, you've got here Crane, I think Matt Parkinson as well, and we've already seen some youngsters coming
Lots
through.
Of leggies.
I think that certainly is very encouraging, especially with the T20 World Cup round the corner.
Single for Lincoln there. A lot of interest as well as to how Middlesex will go about playing Crane, because they certainly came up short against Surrey with the two regulation offies, Batty and Will Jacks. Ended up getting 113 as a team, but it was the spinners who did the damage. Just the one spinner to contend with today, so a bit easier perhaps.
Oh, that's such an Eskenazi shot, just a little bit over pitch, just turn the wrists out to mid-wicket. Still nothing quite so explosive, but difficult when you've got the calibre of Crane at the other end. There's two Cranes to my right, in fact. Just sort of nice little symmetry. Very quickly out from behind the stumps there, Lewis McManus, and it means that another tidy Hampshire over leaves Middlesex 56 for 1 at the end of the 8th over. Eskenazi there, 26 from his 21 deliveries. Lincoln 13 from 17, and after that rather rapid start, Hampshire putting it back. But it looks as though James Vince might be gambling a little bit, because Shaheen Shah Afridi has ball in hand as his Hampshire captain comes to have a chat, and I wonder, Shaheen having gone for 21 from his 2 overs so far, he'll have a little bit of a cushion perhaps, knowing that with the power play overs, got more men out on the boundary edge. You've got a square leg, deep middle wicket, third man down there, and also cover point. And then I think underneath us, there's a long on as well, quite a wide one. So yes, ample cover as he comes through for his first ball of this over. And that's played nicely by Eskenazi. He wants to, but I think he's hit it a little bit too well. Indeed he has. Ball comes through.
Yeah, you're right, Izzy. Interesting move this. James Vince did this against Sussex actually on Thursday night. He brought back Afridi early to try and break a partnership. I guess in this case he feels that he's got the likes of Wood, Stevenson and Holland who can bowl the death overs if need be, and he's prioritising a wicket right now. Ideally Eskenazi, who's the man in form, but he will only have one more after this Pakistani speedster.
Third man brought up, long off, pushed out instead. So looking for some tight lines. Lincoln there trying to run it down into that vacant third man position, but he had to beat the infield first, didn't manage it. A single, nevertheless, 58 for 1.
Far in the 3 times they've batted at Lords, they've scored 209, 165 and 167 have Middlesex.
Full, nicely timed once again by Eskenazi, and Lincoln there speeding back to the danger end, the non-striker's end, giving ample time for Eskenazi to get back. That's really good running. He is quick between the wickets there, Lincoln.
Could be that this pitch perhaps not quite as good as the pitches that they've battered on so far, and they might be thinking, well, 160 will be a very good score on it, maybe even less. Certainly looks like they're just trying to lay a platform here, Eskenazi and Lincoln.
Full toss, pushed into the onside. Eskenazi unhappy with himself there, he felt he could have done more. 30 from 24 deliveries. Just a little lull around at the moment. Normally you'd feel that in the sort of hum of the crowd, but not today. Sunlight nevertheless. A glorious Saturday afternoon here at Lords. Lincoln whips it into the onside. tries to catch it briefly. They only managed the single. It's a good comeback here from Shaheen Shah Afridi. 21 of his first 2, 6 off the over so far. Although it is Danger Man Eskenazi is the one that's pelted him for 2 6s in an over. So I wonder what he'll do off the final delivery of the 9th over here this afternoon. Vince is having a few lengthy words into the ear of Shaheen Shah. Don't let up now. 1 more ball left of this over. Full toss, streaky shot down to third man, but they'll have to settle for the single, and it means that after 9 overs, Middlesex are 63 for 1. Mason Crane to continue from the nursery end. I almost want to have some cranes around the construction site at the nursery end just to sort of.
If only we had a camera that we could train on one of these cranes.
Nice flat delivery and hit back into the turf, Eskenazi.
Good start this by Crane. Just 3 runs scored from his first 7 balls. This is what he's done all tournament so far.
Slightly fuller. Eskenazi looking for 2. They're going to come back. Safely made it in the end. Really good batting from the Middlesex 2 at the crease. Really good running, more to the point. Rotating that strike. And it does seem to be, again, it's that pace off ball. It was Holland we saw in the first instance. Just that 4 off his first over, plus the wicket of Holden. And then Crane so far, as you say, 8 balls gone for 5 runs. Something that Middlesex will have in mind too as they start to take to the field. This one's dived back at the border, and an easy catch there by Mason Crane. He's parried Eskenazi for 33. Middlesex find themselves 65 for 2. It hung in the air for a little while, and well, he couldn't do anything but catch that, I think.
Yeah, I think Stevie Eskenazi will be pretty disappointed with that dismissal. He'd worked pretty hard today. Not a whole load on offer for him in terms of bad balls to latch onto. There were those 2 6s, but the last few balls of his innings, he was just knocking it around, building up his score, and then just, I don't know what he was trying to do there. I guess he was just trying to dab it into the leg side and maybe take a 2, because out on that side towards the grandstand, we've got everyone on the boundary, and it is a long way out there, but it must have just gripped a little bit, that from Mason Crane. He does turn the ball, and in the end, he just offered up the simplest of return catches to him. So a bit of a tame end. Another good score, though, by Steve Eskenazi. He is in fantastic form at the moment. 33 again, so a good start, and that brings young Jack Davies to the crease. Exciting young left-handed batsman, made his debut against Surrey in the previous game. 16 off 15 balls he made. So another big opportunity for him. His first home game at the home of cricket.
Off the mark straight away. Single down to short fine leg. And yes, this is a really interesting period there for Middlesex, because in the matches that they've won or been in a good position to win, one of Holden or Eskenazi has really gone off great guns, both in terms of pace and the runs that they've managed to achieve. In that match against Surrey, Holden, between the 2 of them, top score over 29. He's turned nicely into the onside. Just the 1 run, well fielded there by Mason Crane. Eskenazi fell for 2 in that match, whereas this one, it's almost a similar kind of setup, where the top scorer of the 2 openers has gone on, made 33. I say just, I mean, in the scheme of things, the way in which they've been going, it's not quite the start they're perhaps used to. So, you talked about at the start, it falls now upon a very young middle order for Middlesex to really take things on. Quick single, nicely run by Dan Lincoln, quickly down to the other end, but it means that after 10 overs at the halfway mark, Mason Crane's figures 1 for 8 off 2. Middlesex find themselves 68 for 2. Two young men in the middle, Lincoln there on 16, Davies on 2.
Yeah, it's been an absorbing first 10 overs. Middlesex started very quickly indeed, scoring over 30 in the first 3 overs. Then they lost Holden, and that opened the door for Hampshire just to rein them back in a little bit. And what's fascinating now, as he said there, is that we now get a chance to see the middle order face a few balls and hopefully play a defining innings for Middlesex with both of the openers gone. Big day this for Jack Davies, facing up to Ryan Stevenson now. Beats past the outside edge, maybe could have got forward to that one, was hanging back there a bit. I'm sure he'll be very nervous, just 20 years of age. Would have been very glad to have got that first game out of the way in front of the Sky cameras up at the Oval. Certainly didn't look out of his element there. Into the leg side, could be 2 here. Probably not. Good decision from Jack Davies, ran the first one hard there. Ended up just taking the 1. Another Middlesex player who has Berkshire connections actually, Jack Davies. Played a key role in them winning the Minor Counties Championship last year. Has played for the England under-19s as well. And he made his first class debut just back in August against Kent. So certainly the shortened season has been good for him, has given him some opportunities. Big shot from Lincoln, he goes over cover. Will the ball skid on and get to the boundary? Round comes Fuller. Good bit of fielding by the ex-Middlesex man. A nice throw in. They've run 3 though. Good scampering from Davies. And some signs of perhaps Lincoln trying to up the ante here.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think Middlesex really have an option other than to do that. 8 wickets still back in the dugout / balcony / wherever they may be mingling right now. And you've got the likes of Simpson, Anderson to come.
They are taking their singles, that's for sure, over the last few overs. Trying to rotate strike as much as possible. And just trying to gauge what they think will be a winning score on this pitch. As I said before, they've made scores of 209, 165 and 167 batting first so far at Lord's, Middlesex. This is out there, Lincoln. Full toss down leg side, hits the pad. They're through for a leg by, but as you can see from his reaction, he feels like that was an opportunity for 4. But of those 3 games, Izzy, that 209 was the tied game. They got 165 and lost, and 167 and won. So quite hard to gauge from that what's going to be a par score today. Nicely clipped off the legs by Davies, just the 1.
It's funny, I think we arrived here and we almost would have said that around the 160 mark is the minimum for Middlesex to put themselves into a winning or a strong position. But then having seen the way in which this pitch is played early doors, the way in which it's been served the slower bowlers quite well, I wonder whether actually you want to sort of take it down a notch or 2, looking more at the sort of 150 mark. But either way, some work to do for Middlesex to up that run rate.
Well, even 150 from here, 75 off 9. Got to go about 8 runs and over. Davies cuts, could be 2 here. Gets it past the man at point. And they do cross for 2. Mason Crane's 3rd over on the bounce. They may see him as the danger man in this side. might just feel like they can see him off and target the others. Or maybe not. Davies goes big. Slog sweep, 1 bounce for 4. And that one was flat.
I think he just targeted the wrong end of the ground there. It was the furthest corner away from him. And any other part that he tried to hit it over, he would have got a 6 for it. But it just landed about half a metre inside the boundary rope. But it has made its way into the stands, and we have that familiar sight this year of the fielders having to search through the empty seats around them.
Empty white seats for a white ball. Can't be easy, that.
Didn't think this one through, did they?
So you get the feeling that was a boundary that was needed for Middlesex. Been a few balls since the last one. Give Jack Davies a lot of confidence. This time he goes back and cuts. Crane hangs that one outside the off stump, maybe anticipating that Davies might go again towards the leg side. And he does well and gets Lincoln back on strike, who I feel now probably needs to take responsibility here with the younger man at the other end. He's faced 22 balls now down Lincoln, 19 not out. Down the track, trying to get it into that big leg side area and scamper through for a 2, but again he gets wrapped on the pad. Hasn't quite found his fluency yet, Lincoln. Sweep again from Davies. He obviously likes that shot. This time straight to the man on the deep mid-wicket boundary. But it's been a lively start by the 20-year-old left-hander. 12 not out off 10 balls at the moment.
Yeah, certainly, as you're saying, and sorry, didn't look out of place, and certainly not here as well.
Lincoln's gone big there, straight high in the air, man comes round at long on, steadies himself, takes the catch. That is the 3rd wicket to fall for Middlesex, 84 for 3. Dan Lincoln has gone for 19. He tried to up the ante, but all he could do was find the fielder.
Yeah, I think, as you said, he hasn't really quite got into his rhythm yet there, Lincoln. Davies the one that was going over a runner ball, but it means that after 12 overs, Middlesex find themselves 84 for 3. Middlesex losing their 3rd wicket at the very end of the 12th over, 84 for 3, and it means that new man to the crease is the new all-rounder for Middlesex, really, in Martin Anderson. So 2 youngsters at the crease alongside Davies there, who's on 12 from his 10, and they've got some work to do now, Middlesex.
Yeah, big test for these 2 young batsmen. It's going to be Ian Holland back into the attack. 2 overs, 1 for 10 so far from the other end. This time he comes on from the pavilion end, and he's got the keeper back, which again may be a double bluff. He may continue with his cutters and back of the hand slower balls. Anderson facing his first ball. He's been one of the big positives, Martin Anderson, so far this year. Genuine all-rounder. Played very well in the Bob Willis Trophy, particularly with the ball. 14 wickets at 17. He also chipped in with the bat, played a very nice knock against Hampshire, actually. 92 in the defeat at Radlett. Slower ball again from Holland, really just making the batsmen generate all of their own pace at the moment.
he's come to be a sort of real stable feature of the Middlesex side, somebody that you trust to rely on, yet to really get going with the bat in the T20 competition so far. 7-2-14 from his last 3 innings. But certainly capable, and certainly someone that can help guide Davies through this tricky little period.
Davies comes down, slower ball, chance of a run out perhaps. Holland doesn't throw, but good bit of bowling that. He saw Davies coming down, just took the pace off, rolled his fingers across the ball, and Davies himself did well to check his shot. I think if he'd gone through with that, that just would have gone straight up in the air.
Really frustrating for Middlesex, these 2 bowlers, not only a wicket apiece, but it's that economy rate. Crane 16 off his 3, Holland only 11.
Wide, he sliced that over the cover point. Davies did well to get it over the man, took advantage of the width, and he's going along nicely now. The 20-year-old, 16 off 12.
Yep, and it's runs like those, throw your hands at it, hope that it speeds by that infield as it did there. Holland, a very irritating, wily bowler. Back of the hand, little cutters as well.
Oh, that's the leading edge from Davies. Tried to go over to the leg side. He's got lucky there, though. It's gone over the offside infield, and they're going to scamper back for 3 runs. So productive over this for Middlesex. Score moves on to 92 for 3. Still 1 ball left in this 13th over.
I think we saw it, maybe it's a T20 match or the ODI, in which Denley managed to hit 3 consecutive boundaries off outside, 2 outside edges and 1 inside edge. It's the kind of thing you're feeling for Holland at the moment. He's bowling well, but last 2 balls gone for a few.
Anderson pulls, no timing though on this occasion. Takes the single. So that is the end of the 13th. 93 for 3. And you sense now that Jack Davies thinks that it's his time to just shift gears a little bit. He's obviously feels like he's in now, feels confident. He's got his first boundaries in Middlesex pink. Mason Crane has 1 more over. Is he the real danger man for Middlesex? Are they better served perhaps? Just trying to see him off a bit with this final over. 3 overs, 2 for 16 so far for the leg spinner. This could be a key over, this one. Anderson faces up. Sits him into the leg side. Could be 2 again. They just take 1 in the end. What will Jack Davies, though? He really fancied a sweep against Crane in the previous over. Got 1 away really nicely. 1 bounce, 4. Will he go that way again? He drives. Hesitation. It's going to be a run out. Crane drops the ball. That was a big mess up by Hampshire, because Jack Davies at one point looked like he was going to be stranded halfway down the track. The ball came in to Mason Crane. He dropped it. Davies got back.
That's pretty calamitous cricket, really, there. The calling from the Middlesex batters, they found themselves stranded each. Bit of hesitation.
Oh, big appeal for LBW. Martin Anderson sweeping. The umpire unmoved.
You felt as though the umpire was really weighing it up for a little while there, but he must have reduced it. It pitched just down the leg side. And Davies there, he survives.
Anderson chips into the leg side again. They think about 2. Sent back. But yeah, I wonder if Hampshire will rue that pretty dreadful run-out miss of Mason Crane's. It wasn't the best throw ever, but he should have gathered it really on the bounce. Davies had almost given up. Then he saw the ball fumbled, carried on, and couldn't believe his luck. And he goes leg side again, comes across his stumps, hoiks Crane to the man on the deep square boundary. So Mason Crane has 1 ball left in his spell. It's been a very good spell again for him. Will Anderson just look to take a 1 or a 2 here? Big expansive drive, bit of turn, but that is the end of Mason Crane.
What a spell that is by Mason Crane. 2 for 20 from his 4 overs, bowling in tandem with Holland in those middle overs. I think that's really tricky for Middlesex. I'm not just looking at the boundary count as well. 2 6s, 2 4s, but that's the extent of it at this stage. I just wonder what's going through the minds of Davies and Anderson right now, trying to set that platform. Still wickets back in the hutch, ready to go should they need them. Simpson, of course, very explosive, experienced player, still able to come out. I guess it's a reassuring news is down the road in Canterbury. Kent are also struggling, more so, you might suggest, with the bat. 106 for 5. They find themselves in the 13th over against Sussex. A few more runs, a few more wickets on the board. Yes. Middlesex at least have that platform, have that opportunity to unleash. Ryan Stevenson's going to continue. From the pavilion end, as Vince is just organising his field. Looks as though we've got a deep square leg, deep mid wicket, fuller there, about 4 or 5 yards inside the boundary rope. Long on, long off as well, and then cover point out on that shorter offside boundary.
Bit of innovation from young Jack Davies there, just trying to get towards the offside and scoop over that man at short fine leg. Didn't quite come off this time. But Middlesex in a decent position here. 6 overs to go. If they can go at 10 runs and over, they'll get up towards 160, which could be a good score on this pitch. Davies pulls, no timing there, but they are going to take 2. He's got a bit of a job to get back there, Davies, to the keeper's end, but he makes it. It is a long way out on that side. That's the longer part of the ground. Oh, run out chance here. Easy. This time Hampshire take their chance. Slower ball. Hit Davies on the pad and he just felt, well, there's a single there. That is, unfortunately, he went a bit too quickly, and by the time he turned around, Stevenson had the ball in his hand. So a bit of a shame that, really, because that was a promising innings from Jack Davies. He'll take a lot of confidence from it. But unfortunately, he's got to head back to the pavilion.
Yeah, 23 runs, he departs. Middlesex on the cusp of reaching that 100, and it was a really savvy piece of fielding there from Ryan Stevenson coming through on his follow-through. He knew he had the momentum. He'd also obviously seen that fumble from Mason Crane a couple of overs ago, trying to run out Davies at the non-striker's end, and thought, right, instead of throwing it at the stumps, I'm just going to follow through, keep the ball in hand, and run through to the wicket. He beat Stevenson, who'd been wrong-footed, sent back down by Anderson. Probably the right call from the non-striker's end. But Middlesex just trying to up the ante, have lost a wicket instead. So Middlesex 99 for 4 in the 15th over. And it looks like alongside Anderson, we are going to see the experienced head of John Simpson.
Yeah, no real surprises there. Simpson has been a mainstay of this T20 side for many years now. He can score quickly down the order as well. He's got power for a slight man. And he faces up to Ryan Stevenson. Gets off the mark straight away with a single down to long on. Quite an important job for John Simpson, actually, with no Luke Holman in the side as well, who rolled his ankle. If you weren't around earlier, he was named initially in the 11, then rolled his ankle in the warm-up, so Tim Murtagh came in. The downside of that, of course, is the batting is slightly weakened. So Simpson now has got a bit less coming in after him than he did at the start of the day.
Middlesex is 100 up in the 15th over, so it's taken them 88 balls to get there. I wonder if I think that must be their slowest start in the competition today. Oh, actually, maybe that's a Surrey match. Forget that one.
Apart from the Surrey one, we'll forget that one. Another single for Anderson. So yeah, you do feel that this partnership over the next 5.1 overs, if they can stay together, is going to be a very important one for Middlesex, with largely the bowlers to come. I'm sure a couple of them fancy themselves as all-rounders. Well played by Simpson, helped that on his way. Just beat the man at short fine leg. And he has his first boundary of the innings, 105 for 4.
Everyone's an all-rounder in white ball cricket, or at least they think they are. But Anderson certainly, I think, is a bona fide all-rounder for Middlesex, certainly into the future. And I'd argue the same for Simpson. Immaculate behind the stumps and has some firepower in front of them too. But this is an important final 5 of the Middlesex innings as they try and build up to a competitive total. I think 150 might be ambitious, but it'll be something that they'll need. As Holland's going to bowl his final and 4th over, turned nicely by Anderson into the onside. They'll have to settle for a single as the fielder's onto it pretty quickly. Fuller out there in the outfield. Brings Simpson on strike. Well fielded by the Australian come American all-rounder Holland.
Got an Australian link as well, hasn't he?
Well, he is Australian. He's Australian. I think his mother's got a British passport, and then I'm trying to work out how he's also got links to America, and therefore has played international cricket over the winter for the United States of America. This is pulled, not timed, by Simpson out to long on. Holland rose to prominence in Australia through a television show that was trying to pick out the next best cricketer. He's a very...
Something like Cricket Superstar.
I think that's what it's called,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, we need one of those shows over here, I think.
Well, Anderson. Nicely down to backward point. If it meant cricket was on television, that I'm sure would be a plus.
Yeah, I can't see, Cricket Superstar sort of being prime time viewing on the BBC, but you never know.
Jostling alongside Love Island or something like that, eh?
You never know.
But he got a first-class contract with Victoria out of it. But it was really over in Hampshire that he's made a name for himself. As it's a slightly fuller dug out by Simpson. Another single to the total, 109 for 4. But he's one of those those odd cricketers that is no longer a journeyman in terms of club and county, but internationally certainly. Nicely turned round the corner. I wonder if they'll look for 2. They do indeed. And again, good running between the wickets between these two, but in terms of boundaries scored, you can still count them on 2 hands. I think we've only seen 6 in the whole of the innings. 2 sixes that came off the same over as Middlesex finished the 16th over, 111 for 4. And otherwise, we've seen 1-4 from each of the batters coming to the crease.
Yeah, 4 overs left. If they get 10 and over from here, that's 151. Do you think that's their target, is he, at the moment?
I think you have to aim for it, but it's pretty tricky. And just seeing the figures pop up from Holland's 4 over spell, 1 for 25. So if you add that to what we've seen from Mason Crane finishing with 2 for 20 from his 4. That's a very handy 8 overs there for Hampshire. And we're going to see a change of bowling. I think Chris Wood is going to come back into the action. He's bowled 2 overs for 12 runs. He's bowling left arm round the wicket, wide round the wicket, and I think Middlesex might manage to get back for 2 here. They do. Good running.
So Chris Wood has 2 overs left. Shaheen Shah Afridi has 1. And Ryan Stevenson has 1. You'd think they're probably just going to go with 5 bowlers here, Hampshire.
Simpson on strike. Past the outside edge. Oh, that's a peach of a delivery.
That's a lovely delivery with just 4 overs to go in a T20 game. Straight past the outside edge, beat the forward prod.
Yeah, how he's managed to angle it back into the left-handed batter from the angle that he's bowling from is quite an achievement, but he has nonetheless. A nice dot ball there for Hampshire. Plugged into the onside. Well, they come back for 2. They're going to look at it. They want it. There's a bit of hesitation, but the misfield, the fumble in the outfield means they make it easily enough. .115 for 4. Hampshire, I think, feeling the more comfortable of the 2 at this stage.
I think so, but a lot can happen in 3.5 overs, that's for sure.
Simpson making room for himself, plugged it into the onside. It's going to land just short in front of Fuller. Hung in the air for a while. Wonder if he was going to get underneath it, take the catch. Couldn't get there in time.
We've seen Simpson be proactive since he came to the crease, making room for himself, going both sides of the wicket, depending on what he feels is going to come down at him. And that's what Middlesex have to do here, really. Just be a bit inventive. They need a big over. 1 big over can get them going here. They need a 15 over, 18 over, just to get them up towards that 150, 160.
Back down the crowd. Immediately, Anderson shouting 2. And they come back easily enough. A lot of work to be done in the outfield there by Stevenson, running around from a wide, long on position. Long off even to the right-handed Anderson. 118 for 4. Final ball of this 17th over still to come. Here comes Wood. Big flash outside off stump, and I think Anderson moving across his crease meant that the umpire decided he couldn't call it a wide, even though it was angling away from the batter and he had to reach for it, but it flew over the top of the outside edge, and it means that Middlesex are 118 for 4 after 17 overs.
So that is the Compton stand, I believe, which is currently being renovated and redone and increased in capacity. So it's a bit of a building site at the moment. There's the media centre, which we all know very well, and the Edrich, both looking, well, they're well on the way to their change, that's for sure. It's going to increase the capacity here at Lord's to over 30,000. Going to have restaurants in there. Going to be just better and more modern stands, really. And as you can see from the lower part of the stand, a lot more seats down there as well that are going to be in the sunshine, which was perhaps the issue before. Can't wait for those to get finished.
Shaheen Shah Afridi running away from that nursery end. Dot ball to start with. So he is the one Hampshire bowler that's been a little bit more expensive through this innings so far, going at just over 9s per over, 0 no wickets for 28 from his 3 overs so far. But Matt, as you said, I think I'm going to settle for the same 5 bowlers to finish these things off. This is thrashed back down the ground, hit hard by Simpson, but there's a fielder that's straight enough long off, and he means he's going to have to settle for only the single. And I tell you what, he hit that pretty hard back at the bowler, Shaheen having to take some evasive action to avoid it hitting him.
Still on the hunt for his first wicket in this tournament, Shaheen. He's got 4 more balls to get one in this game. Certainly has been perhaps the weak link today for Hampshire.
Anderson, streaky inside edge, makes its way down to short fine. Still after that elusive first wicket, then 120 for 4. Stuart Law, the Middlesex coach, pondering over his white ball team. Red ball stuff done and dusted then for Middlesex now this season. Got the luxury of being able to concentrate entirely on this white ball campaign. Shaheen, dug out nicely by Simpson. Out to long on, just the single.
He looks pensive, Mr. Law, doesn't he? He's thinking, what do we need here? What's going to be defendable?
Well, that's it. I think we're also thinking, we've seen a lot higher scores on this ground in the few matches that we've seen played here. But it does look tricky out there in terms of the pitch just holding up a little bit. But has it been the bowlers? Has it been the pitch? Here comes Shaheen around the wicket and ball him. The first wicket in the Vitality T20 blast for the young Pakistani bowler. And we see his trademark celebration, both arms aloft. Shaheen Shah Afridi has bowled Martin Anderson. Middlesex find themselves 121 for 5. Well, that's a nice sight to see for cricket fans around the world, not just Middlesex ones.
Yeah, it was a popular wicket as well amongst the Hampshire players out there. You could hear them all running to Shaheen straight away as soon as he hit those stumps. Big cheers going up. There was a sort of semi-relieved celebration from him, reminiscent of Shahid Afridi actually, with 2 hands pointing up to the sky. Martin Anderson just making room for himself and trying to get that ball through the infield. But Afridi is pretty good at bowling Yorkers, isn't he? It's one of his specialities. He is a quality bowler. Forget about his stats so far. And he'll be relieved that he's finally got on the board for his new club.
Well, he's got one more go at it, one more ball in his 18th over. It's Tom Helm who's to the crease. And I tell you what, Tom Helm did pretty well to get his bat down at that one. Another nice full delivery from Shaheen Shah Afridi, but he finishes his spell then, 1 wicket for 31 runs after 4 overs, and Middlesex find themselves 121 for 5 with 2 overs left. What are we looking at? Still that 150 mark?
I think 150 they'd bite your hand off for now, Middlesex. That was a fantastic last over by Shaheen Shah Afridi. 150, that's going to be 29 off the final too. I think they'll probably have to downgrade what they're looking at now. You're looking at 140, 145 maybe, if Simpson can have a good over here.
Oh, it's Chris Wood through to Simpson, and he's got an inside edge on that. It's one down beyond the reach of the wicketkeeper, diving to his right, and that will help things. 4 runs to the total, 125 for 5.
Yeah, definitely needed that one. Just got a bit of bat on it, did John Simpson. It's exactly what he needed to do. And this is the one where Middlesex would love to go big, just to take the pressure off in the final over a little bit.
Full toss off the legs of Simpson. Five runs then off the first 2 balls. Nice calm breeze filtering across the Lord's outfield. A masthead and flag on top of the grandstand, nicely horizontal, and see the wind fluttering through it. Nice cricket weather. This is driven hard down the ground by Helm, and he's off the mark, almost run out of his first run, but the throw was wide.
I think it was quite close though, judging by James Vince's reaction. It was a pretty quick pick up and throw. I think he felt But he almost pulled off a pretty sensational run out there, right on the edge of the 30-yard circle.
Wood around the wicket, dug out by Simpson. They wanted the two, decided against it there, Helm. Fielder running, racing through from the boundary. Good fielding here from Hampshire, just keeping that pressure on Middlesex. 128 for 5. Wide, full delivery, flayed out into the offside, down to third man, and there was a bit of miscommunication there. I think Simpson had thought about a single, then they'd almost caught each other's eye in the middle, and both had sort of stumbled back to their crease. That's a missed opportunity, I think, there for Middlesex.
They'd like a 4 or a 2 or a 6 here. I think Middlesex keep John Simpson on strike for the final over. This is the one where you want Helm just to have a bit of a swing, try and get it away, and then Simpson hopefully take strike for the whole of the final over.
Final delivery of this penultimate over, and Helm gives himself room. And they're looking for the 2, try and keep Simpson on strike, and they do find it.
Good running that.
Good running back into his crease. 130 for 5 then Middlesex. Simpson there on 20, Helm on 3, and they've got 1 over left, and I wonder if we'll see Ryan Stevenson take it for Hampshire.
Yep, Stevenson is the last of the 5 bowlers used so far who hasn't bowled his 4 overs, so looks like he's going to be the man to finish things off for Hampshire. Chris Wood, 4 overs, none for 28, tidy as ever. And in general, you'd have to say that Hampshire have bowled pretty well so far in this innings. They haven't given Middlesex too much to hit. The pace off seems to have worked very well with Ian Holland, 4 overs, 1 for 25. And obviously the spinner Mason Crane, 2 for 20 from his 4 overs, being the 2 pick of the bowlers so far. But if Middlesex can somehow get a big over here, 15, 18, 20, that does change the whole complexion of this innings. And John Simpson is the man they are relying on. 20 of 15 at the moment, vastly experienced.
Full toss, thrashed back down the ground, and that's exactly what Middlesex were looking for. Simpson getting fully hold of that. It's 6 runs, it's the third 6 of the innings. And it brings Middlesex then a good start in this final over, 136 for 5.
That was a big blow. That went straight over the sight screen at the nursery end and into the building site. So I think we're going to have to find another ball there. It was a full toss, but John Simpson getting plenty of power on that.
Yep, I think you're right. There's no case of fielders being able to climb into those stands, strictly off limits, and indeed we're seeing just down below us to our left that box of balls being brought out and displayed to the umpire. So a little pause in proceedings as Middlesex. Simpson there ponders his next move. How can he follow that one up? It's a nice gift though. Low full toss. Sometimes low full toss is the one that do it for the bowling team at the end of an innings, but this one was just enough for Simpson to get fully underneath it and muscle his way back over the bowler's head.
Stevenson under pressure though now.
Simpson gets down on one knee, carves it into the offside. Have to settle for the single. Almost struck it too well, means Fuller feels on the covered boundary edge, and Helm back on strike. 7 runs so far off his final over. 4 balls left.
I think Simpson's saying to Helm there, just get some bat on this one. Plenty of space out on the leg side, everyone out on the boundary out there, and we'll get at least 1. He wants to get back down on strike.
Helm knocking the ball into the onside. Out to long on, he's done his job. Rotated that strike, Simpson's back on. 3 balls left of this final over, 138 for 5. What can Middlesex bring it up to?
Wonder what area he's targeting here. John Simpson, both long and long off back.
Wide delivery, called wide. It's wide and full, and Simpson there, not even trying to reach for it. He'll take that single, thank you very much.
Third man and fine leg are both up. So I wonder if that's an option for John Simpson. Whether he fancies a bit of a scoop, or he'd rather just belt Stevenson back over his head like he did earlier in the over.
Simpson gives himself room, clears that front leg, doesn't quite get hold of it. They're going to come back for two. That throws into the non-striker's end, and really good running between Tom Helm and John Simpson means that they make it back safely indeed. 141 for 5.
Good running from the tall, fast bowler Tom Helm. Turned quickly there and got back. Knew exactly what the plan should be. Keep Simpson on strike. Give him the last 2 balls, which can make a big difference to a score like this.
Simpson again gives himself room. Wide and full outside off stump. Guides it down to backward point on the boundary, and it means that it'll be Tom Helm to face the final delivery from Ryan Stevenson. Middlesex there, 142 for 5.
Good wide Yorker there from Ryan Stevenson. Not much that Simpson can do with that. Now it's all up to Tom Helm. What can he do with his final ball?
Gives himself room up in the air, and there's a man underneath it, out long off, and he's taken the catch simply and safely. And it means that Middlesex end their innings 142 for 6. Tom Helm falls for 4. Simpson there not out on 30 from his 19 deliveries. And well, it's difficult to analyse at this stage. I think it's, it's one of those, we'll get the cliches out and we'll say that Middlesex, you only can judge a match by seeing both teams bat on the pitch, but it's certainly a lot lower than the scores we're used to here at Lord's.
Yeah, it certainly is, but I think the fact that the boundary count was so low, and the fact that it was the bowlers who generally took pace off the ball who succeeded, suggests that this is a slightly tougher pitch to bat on than in those first 3 games here, where Middlesex batting first got 209, 165 and 167. So that is obviously well below that. The question is, do Middlesex have the bowlers to exploit these conditions? Obviously there's one spinner less on show today, with Luke Holman rolling his ankle in the warm-up, so just Nathan Souter is the only spinner. You've got Tim Murter, of course, who hasn't played a T20 since 2016. And it'll be interesting to see how the Middlesex teamers go about it, really.
Yeah, precisely the thoughts that are going through my mind. If you look at the returns for Hampshire, it was really Ian Holland there, 1 for 25 from his 4, and then the pick of the bowlers, of course, was Mason Crane, 2 for 20 from his 4, and they really kind of put the brakes on that Middlesex innings in the middle overs when we saw them race away. Shine Free was pretty expensive first up, Chris Wood as well, and so I wonder, that Luke Holman sort of going over on his ankle, it means that you've got one less spinner, but is it rude to suggest that Tim Murter could be that second slow bowler, or is that going one step too far?
I don't think he would appreciate that very much, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm really interested to see how he goes in T20, because it's been so long since we've seen him bowl. We're so used to him playing in 4-day cricket and just hammering out a length and swinging the ball and being so consistent. Obviously in T20 cricket that doesn't really work, because batsmen, well, they know what's coming, really. So if being predictable in T20 isn't that much of an advantage, it'll be interesting to see what kind of variations he comes up with. But again, I presume he'll open the bowling, and when you open the bowling, you can bowl like that for at least the first over or 2.
Just take you through that Middlesex scorecard then. Stevie Eskenazi and Max Holden opening things up at the top of the innings. Eskenazi going from 33 from 28 deliveries, top scoring in fact. Holden there made 12 from 10. Dan Lincoln came in, gave the ball a good biff. It didn't really get into his rhythm, 19 from 24. And then the young Jack Davies came in and was run out by Ryan Stevenson just as he was getting going. In fact, 23 from 18, looking good, certainly one for the future. future. Martin Anderson, similarly with Lincoln, struggling really to get momentum. He was the first victim in the Vitality T20 blast for Shaheen Shah Afridi. Anderson falling for 12 from 15, and then it was a nice cameo at the end really between Simpson and Helm. Simpson ending unbeaten on 30 from 19 deliveries. Tom Helm falling the final ball of the match. But so everything to play for here at Lords. Middlesex finishing their innings 142 for 6. Let's take another look at a video from Middlesex's players who have a message for everyone who can't join us here at Lords for the game and are watching at home.
The moment is drawing near where we will once again be able to represent you, to play for you, renewing old rivalries and creating new ones.
Inspiring a new generation and remembering the past, while never forgetting our heroes who have sacrificed so much to bring us back together.
The walk to the ground, the meeting up with old friends and the making of new, the fireworks lighting up the Thursday night sky may all have to wait for now.
But we know that until you are back in the stands, you are with us, in the changing rooms, in the slips, in the dugout, down at the other end.
Thank you to all the essential workers that have kept us safe, the fans from Middlesex and abroad who have kept us motivated, the club sponsors for their unwavering commitment, and to our members for their patience and support, the lifeblood of Middlesex cricket.
It will certainly not be the same until you return. We hope you join us for every match.
Every ball, every wicket, every 4 and 6, delivered to you with our new enhanced broadcast live.
Middlesex cricket is back in the crease and we cannot wait to welcome you back.
So welcome back to Lords, where we find ourselves in the innings break of this T20 Vitality Blast match between Middlesex and Hampshire. Middlesex made 142 for 6. It's their lowest total at Lords in this competition so far, and it means, I think, Matt, that if we're going to see a Knight Frank player of the match and in the winning side for Middlesex, it might well have to be a bowler this time.
I think it's looking that way, isn't it? Because if Middlesex do defend this, it's going to be all on the bowlers. I don't know whether perhaps you might give it to John Simpson if he has a fantastic day with the gloves or something like that, but certainly no batsman really stood up and put their hand up for it. We'd like you guys to help us choose as well, wouldn't we? So please tweet us at Middlesex_CCC, or you can comment on our Facebook page. Make sure you use the hashtag #NightFrankPOTM, and then we'll announce that at the end of the day. But I mean, at the moment, I suppose you're right, it is going to be most likely a bowler. Maybe Tim Murtagh on his return to the side. First game since 2016, Knight Frank player of the match.
Yeah, so please do tweet in or send a message over Facebook. But we are only halfway there. Middlesex having made 142 for 6 in their first innings in the 6th round match of the Vitality T20 Blast. I think we've both said that Middlesex currently 4th in the table on 4 points. Hampshire 5th on 3 points. They've had similar run-ins to this 6th round, and I think that if either of these teams could progress, it really is imperative that they win this one. 4 wins out of the last 5 matches.
Yeah, this is a crucial game, isn't it? You think whoever loses this game, the quarterfinals do look a long way off. What with the top 3 now, just creating a 3-point buffer ahead of Middlesex, Hampshire and Essex. There's a big game going on today as well, isn't there? With Kent and Sussex, who are the top 2, which will again affect the table. So Middlesex bowlers are going to have to pull something special out of the bag here, I feel. But they do know these conditions, and we've got to remember as well, against Surrey they started very well, 23 for 4 Surrey were. So there have been moments when Middlesex's bowlers have really come through during this tournament.
Well, certainly ought to play for, but one thing we certainly are very thankful for is that we are here watching cricket, streaming it live into your homes, and it wouldn't really have been possible without the club sponsors whose support has been brilliant throughout the summer, and we'd like to thank them very much indeed. Welcome back then to Lords as we are about to embark on the second innings of this match between Middlesex and Hampshire. Interestingly poised, Middlesex having made 142 for 6 in their first innings. A similar match down the coast, down towards Canterbury, between Kent and Sussex, where Kent posted a first innings total of 1 for 1 for 8. Now Kent at top of the table, Sussex currently I think in 3rd place. And so you kind of think that we want Kent to win that just to get to the top of the table and run off away with it, and give Middlesex, currently lying in 4th position underneath Sussex, with a little bit of room to manoeuvre.
Yeah, I think both Middlesex and Hampshire probably want Kent to win that, and then they can just move ahead of everyone else and perhaps take the top spot, and then hope that they can catch Sussex, who have got 7 points at the moment from 5 games. Middlesex, as it stands, have 4 points. Hampshire have 3. So if Middlesex win this and Sussex lose to Kent, they'll just be 1 point behind. They're going to have to bowl well, though. It's Tom Helm who will take the first over, coming into Tom Alsop, who's opening with James Vince. And he beats the bat straight away, just outside off stump. Alsop has a bit of a fiddle. And he's alongside his skipper, Vince, as I mentioned there, who played his first game for Sussex on Thursday at the Ageas Bowl, for Hampshire rather, against Sussex. Just had his second child. Didn't play any Bob Willis Trophy either, so he is a big danger man for Middlesex to get out today. Oh, a nice bit of bowling from Helm, bit of bounce, almost cut the batsman in half as well, seamed back into him. And significant bounce as well. We didn't see too much of that when Middlesex were batting, but of course Middlesex do have 2 exceptionally tall fast bowlers in Tom Helm and Stephen Finn. There's no one that height in the Hampshire attack. And both of these guys started well, defending a very, very small total against Surrey. Surrey were 23 for 4 in that game. Good start to Vince as well. He lets it go through. Helm bowled with real pace in that game at the Oval, even on a slow pitch. Stephen Finn tended to take the pace off quite a bit in that game. 2 very different approaches.
Such an incongruous match, having seen the match that preceded the Middlesex match score was at excess of 300 runs, and then Middlesex were only posting 113. You thought they were down and out, and then, as you say, 24 for 3, and suddenly it was all to play for once more.
Another dot to Vince, trying to thread it through the offside. Helm's got 1 slip in place. 4 men on the offside in the ring, and 2 men on the boundary, 3rd man and deep square leg. Vince made just 10 in the game against Sussex on Thursday, but his overall record is fantastic. 220 games, 5,750 runs at an average of 30, strike rate 133. He's edged that one. Gone down very quickly to the man at third man. So James Vince is away. Tom Alsop yet to get off the mark. They did have that leg by earlier on in the over. The batting hasn't been that great for Hampshire so far in this tournament. Just two batsmen have scored over 100 runs, Alsop and Joe Weatherly. Although Vince hasn't been around, and North East has been in poor form. They're two senior batsmen. Nice shot that from Tom Alsop, just clipped off his legs, found the gap as well in between mid-on and mid-wicket, and that is going to be Hampshire's first boundary.
Really well placed, timed there by Alsop. There's a very narrow gap between the fielders at mid-wicket and mid-on, but he found it. We talked about how dangerous Eskenazi and Holden have been for Middlesex at the top of the order, but I think this duo, Alsop and Vince just hasn't had the opportunity yet to show what he's capable of in this season so far. I think they could be very... I mean, even just the way in which the ball is timing off their bat, it looks ominous.
So it's going to be the evergreen Tim Murtagh to bowl the second over of this run chase. Vastly experienced in all formats, but he hasn't had a white ball in his hand for a while. Last T20 back in 2016. That's not to say he doesn't have pedigree in this format.
No, but also not necessarily expecting to play today, being a squad man perhaps, but Holman going over on his ankle. It's a reassuring sight to have though at the top of the mark.
Right on the money straight away. Tom Simpson, the keeper, is up to the stumps. No surprises there. And it's 6 without loss. 7 balls into this run chase for Hampshire. Middlesex can somehow nip out James Vince early. That'll be a huge boost for them. Just did he get something on that perhaps, or is that going to be through for a bye? A bit of bats on that one from James Vince. The sun's really out now. Not too many clouds in the sky. It's a glorious afternoon. Great day for cricket, whether that's county cricket, club cricket, whatever you're doing. And Lords is looking fantastic at the moment. Great to be here, even if there are no fans. The ground is looking fantastic as ever as Murtagh comes in again. Alsop gets him away to the leg side. Just going to be 1 run there for the young Tom Alsop, 24 years old. Top scored against Sussex in the previous game, made 43. While he was there, they still had a chance of winning the game. His dismissal led to a bit of a period of Hampshire getting stuck as they tried to chase down 150 odd.
Just seeing Murtagh manoeuvre the field, but I'm just wondering whether this is a real timely return for someone like Tim Murtagh, as you say, it's that line and length, a red ball specialist perhaps.
Oh, beats the bat there. Good take from Simpson.
But we saw yesterday in that ODI between England and Australia, the man of the match there was somebody who similarly sort of thrives on line length, not necessarily all the variations you might expect from white ball cricket, and that was Josh Hazlewood. I mean, his returns of 3 for 26 off his 10 overs, quite remarkable really. And actually, I wonder whether there's a little bit of a reversion of white ball cricket to having at least one bowler like that who hasn't necessarily got the bag of tricks, but you know what they're going to get.
Oh, he goes past the outside edge again of James Vince. Vince fancies a piece of Murtagh here. But I get your point totally. That is Tim Murtagh's strength, isn't it? He's just so consistent, swings the ball. You know exactly what you're going to get from him. Very few freebies in red ball cricket.
Because so often we think that that sort of nagging, consistent line and length is exactly what you don't want in white ball cricket. But actually, you could almost argue that they are a variation in themselves if you've got other people that can do so many different things in their bag of tricks. And actually, maybe every team does want your kind of Hazelwood / Murtagh style of bowler.
Oh, sent back, could be a chance of a run out. Vince dives back in. But certainly Murtagh's consistency causing a few issues early on in this innings for the Hampshire openers. It's a tidy first over from Tim Murtagh, 8 without loss, just 2 from that one.
I tell you what, Middlesex fans expect nothing less from the likes of Tim Murtagh. But haven't seen it for a while in white ball format, and now that red ball cricket is over for Middlesex for the season, he doesn't have to think about sort of saving himself for those fixtures. This could be, yes, as we said, a timely return.
Also up down the track to Helm. Doesn't quite get it. And Helm gets a hand on it to stop that one. Possibly testing out Steve Finn at mid-on. It has been a good start for the home side. Just the one boundary so far from Tom Alsop in the first over. And Helm bowled well, as I mentioned before, when defending a low total against Surrey in the previous game. He didn't get a wicket, but he came in with real purpose in that game at the Oval. Comes in again here. He's beaten Alsop for pace there. Ungainly, tried to pull him. Ball hit the thigh pad.
And cut him up a little bit. And this is really encouraging to see from Middlesex perspective. I mean, we've seen Tom Hill bowl with some pace throughout this tournament so far. But certainly you feel this is up there. Good rhythm as well.
We've changed the field now, so it's a 4-man ring field on the offside. The 2 men out, both on the leg side. Deep mid-wicket and deep square leg. And that's where Alsop goes, straight to that man at deep mid-wicket. And they trot through for a single. But Middlesex won't mind singles too much at the moment. As long as they can keep that boundary count down, they'll be more than happy.
5 wickets in this competition so far for Tom Helm. Reasonably expensive economy rate, just under 8 runs per over, 7.7 runs per over. He's come in at important positions quite often, right at the death in that tie, certainly against Kent. He was crucial to ensuring that Middlesex claimed a point at the very least.
Yo, he's nicked that one, James Vince. He is gone. Tom Helm gets the big wicket of James Vince. Lovely delivery, good length ball. Vince tried to throw his hands at it, and all he could do was edge it through to John Simpson.
Really lovely bit of bowling there from the Middlesex seamer. It was too tight there, really, for Vince to try and thrash it away off his back foot. And a very welcome wicket to Middlesex, defending, of course, just 142 here at Lord's today. And they've got certainly a danger man out early doors, James Vince. He falls, and it means Hampshire now 9 for 1.
Well, that is a huge boost for Middlesex. James Vince, despite only playing 1 game this season for Hampshire, was undoubtedly the danger man for this Hampshire batting lineup. He had been involved with England, played in the 3 games against Ireland. He's vastly experienced, of course, a classy player. And he's been replaced by someone equally as experienced in Sam Northeast, who is the captain when James Vince isn't around. But he's not having a very good year so far. He didn't have a great Bob Willis trophy, 181 runs at 25. And his form in this format has been well, pretty poor really. 71 runs at 14, strike rate 87. That's very unlike him.
Struggled to get going so far, Northeast, but maybe just with the just one format to concentrate on, come off a little better.
Edge and gone. Sam Northeast is out. First ball. It's 2 in 2 for Tom Helm. James Vince and Northeast both back in the hutch.
I think I'll carry on talking, bigging up the Hampshire batters, and then who knows how many wickets will fall. But my goodness, we were talking about how Helm had looked in good rhythm, bowling with good pace as well, and he's got 2 very big, very experienced wickets from Hampshire in consecutive deliveries, and well, I think, Matt, we found ourselves in a hat-trick.
I mean, those are 2 genuine wickets as well that you would find in 4-day cricket. 2 genuine nicks, particularly that second one there with Sam Northeast. First ball, good captaincy to have the slip in, good catch as well, going to the left. It was Eskenazi with the catch at first slip. And Middlesex all of a sudden, through some very good traditional type bowling, find themselves in a good position. Hampshire 9 for 2, the 2 most experienced men gone, and it's now over to the youngsters, Tom Alsop and Joe Weatherly, who's the new batsman.
Weatherly's not had too bad a time of it so far. Underneath just James Fuller in the middle order in the Hampshire batting averages. Strike rate of 121, but Hampshire have struggled with the bat so far this season. And a lot of work for them to do if they're going to get anywhere near that 142 from Middlesex.
Hat-trick ball there for Tom Helm. What can he do with this one? Oh, just blocked out by Joe Weatherly. But he did the right thing, Helm. Tried to attack the stumps. Great over. 9 for 2 off 3 overs. So fabulous start by Middlesex. Timurta will continue with John Simpson up to the stumps. Tom Alsop will be on strike as the field is changed. The second man goes out to the leg side boundary to the left-handed Alsop. Inside edge is going to bring the Hampshire opener a single. He moves on to 7. The score moves on to 10 for 2. And Joe Weatherly's turn to face the music. 23 years old, top scorer in the Blast this year for Hampshire, 137 at 27, but he was also the leading batsman for Hampshire in the Bob Willis Trophy, and he was the match winner against Middlesex in that fantastic Bob Willis Trophy game at Radlett when he scored 98, 64 not out to lead them home. Stomping chance from John Simpson. He was confident. The umpire was not. It was Rob Bailey walking in.
That was some nifty glove work behind the stumps by John Simpson. We know how good he is, how quick he is with his feet and hands. And my goodness, I wonder if he'd have liked to have had a second look at that one.
I was giving it out from here, but I must say we are not really in the best position. We're basically behind the bowler's arm. Wide given anyway on that occasion. That time it is gone. What a nifty bit of work from John Simpson. This time 2 in 2 balls. The second one though is out, and Middlesex are on a roll. Joe Weatherly is stumped 11 for 3.
Well, we might have seen the experience of Vincent Northeast depart pretty quickly, but really Weatherly, if we think about his form in all formats of the game, that is probably the one wicket that Middlesex really did need and want, and 2 very, very similar deliveries. I mean, they're never going to finish the over at this rate because it's 2 wide balls, but one of them has bought the wicket, and once again it's John Simpson. Well, if you thought Weatherly maybe had tried to learn a lesson from the previous attempt where the umpire had judged it not out, he couldn't, and Simpson, wow, that was quick, and that is a very happy sight for Middlesex fans. Hampshire 12 for 3.
You don't often see that, do you? 2 leg side stumpings and 2 balls, both off wides. The first one not given because he'd got his foot back in, but you rarely see the opportunity to get a second chance in 2 balls. Simpson grabbed it with both hands, no pun intended, but it really was a quick bit of work that. Haven't got that much time. Joe Weatherly will be disappointed to have fallen over and out of his crease twice in a row, but you've got to take your hat off to the Middlesex man there.
Well, Chris Wood then makes his way to the crease, and there's another building work needed. Fuller, in fact, at the crease.
First ball for Fuller, squirts it through the offside. He's off the mark. They're going for 2 here, and they're going to get back for it as well. So, interesting move by Hampshire to promote Fuller. Could have gone with Lewis McManus or Ian Holland. Although Fuller is a genuine all-rounder in this format, you'd say. And he does know this ground very well. Ex-Middlesex player, of course, from 2016 to 2018. Doesn't bowl too much in T20. At the moment, he's only bowled a couple of overs this year. So perhaps becoming more of a batting all-rounder. Conversation between Steve Finn and the umpire Billy Taylor. Not sure what that's about. Middlesex and Finn will be cock-a-hoop at the moment. This has been about as good a start as they could have hoped for as Murtagh comes in again. And Fuller plays him out to the leg side for a single. So 3 of Fuller's first 2 deliveries. Score moves on to 14 for 3 after 3.2 overs. And Hampshire now need to rebuild, is he?
Yeah, Fuller's a funny one really for Hampshire. Somebody I think from Middlesex, having seen him play for Middlesex, who predominantly plays him as a bowler, but certainly in the T20 competition, he's really forged a sort of space for himself in the middle order of this Hampshire batting lineup. Top scorer 53 so far in this competition against Sussex down at Hove at the end of August. And yes, topping the batting average is certainly for the Hampshire side, averaging 43, bolstered by a few not outs.
Consistent again from Tim Murtagh. It's been a really good start by him as well as Helm. Helm's got the 2 wickets in the previous over. Murtagh's kept the pressure on as well. Not showing any signs of rustiness about having a white ball in his hand. That'll be a single for Allsop, who now has quite a big onus on his shoulders. With Fuller coming in at number 5, you'd have to say he's not a genuine batsman. Certainly all eyes will be on him to see whether he can get a big score and get a partnership going with either Fuller or whoever comes in next, as he did against Sussex on Thursday. One more for Fuller. He's done well just to knock it around since he's come in. And that is the over. 22 for 3 off 4. Quite a seam-heavy attack for Middlesex today. You've got Miguel Cummins as well, who came in for James Harris, one of 2 changes from the previous game. The other being Murtagh in for the injured Luke Holman, who rolled his ankle in the warm-up. Otherwise, we think he would have played today in the 11. And then you've also got Steve Finn, the captain, of course, who usually opens the bowling. Martin Anderson bowls a bit of seam. So plenty of options, but it's going to be Helm to continue, and why not after that fabulous last over. Thick inside edge, this one. from James Fuller. He's going to pick up 2 runs. And Middlesex won't mind that too much. They just want to keep the boundaries down here, make sure that Hampshire don't get away. The pressure now firmly on the Hampshire top and middle order. Just look to strangle as much as they can now.
Yeah, I think Middlesex know. I think there's always that stat flying around. If you get 3 wickets in the first 6 overs in the power play, then you're on a pretty good course for the win. But 1 more, they've got 2 overs left. 1 more, and you think it's all in Middlesex's favour. 24 for 3, 142 the total made by Middlesex on what does seem to be a low-scoring pitch. Slower one, difficult to get away. Of course, we've got the experienced leg spin of Nathan Souter still to come. Stephen Finn, who often makes an entry in the first over after the power play as well.
Nicely clipped by Fuller. That's going to be a boundary. Just got enough bat on that to beat the man at short fine leg on his inside. First bad ball from Tom Helm in a while, actually, that one. And that will bring some welcome relief for Hampshire. They still have a lot of work to do here, though. They just need a partnership. Middlesex will feel that with the 3 wickets down, this is an opportunity to bring that run rate down as well. So this is Tom Helm's 3rd over. He's only gone for 12 so far. Picked up the 2 crucial wickets in his previous over as well of Vince and North East. It's meant that Stephen Finn has had to hold himself back because Tim Murtagh opened at the other end. And when Finn will come into the attack, possibly to replace Helm. That's going to be a leg bye.
So
1 more to the total. We've got some news, Izzy.
Yeah, the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that the score sort of jumped up by 5 runs just a moment or 2 ago, and we commented on the umpire having a chat with Stephen Finn, the captain, and it's because when the keeper, John Simpson, had gone to field a ball, he'd taken off his glove, thrown his glove down on the field, had a shy at the stumps, and in so doing, had hit his glove. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I don't think I have either. On his own glove.
Absolutely. So yes, 5 penalty runs, which will, well, help Hampshire no end.
Dot ball to finish. So 29 for 3 off 5 overs. Yeah, that's extraordinary, really. I don't even remember the incident.
Well,
we just got passed the note by Fletch, our head of marketing and comms here at Middlesex.
So we can safely say that John Simpson's glove scored more runs than Vince, North East and Weatherly put together.
That is correct, yes.
Well, 5 overs gone, 29 for 3, aided by that that rather unusual 5 penalty runs. But it means that we're going to see Murtagh continue, and Fuller whips this off his legs. Has it managed to splice between those 2 fielders? It has precisely cut them up. The one out at deep square, the one at mid wicket as well, couldn't converge on the ball in time, and it also therefore means that we see Fuller's first boundary, second boundary even, and the 3rd boundary overall for this Hampshire outfit, and they move to 33 for 3. Still can't get over those 5 penalty runs. I think that's extraordinary. Fuller on strike. Shouts would catch it, it's played off his hips. Helm there at short fine fields, come through for a single.
Given that as runs, so a bit of, oh no, he's given it as a leg bye. Late call from Billy Taylor there. But with the penalty runs, yeah, we were so enamoured with that brilliant stumping that we almost were blind to anything he was doing outside of that.
Murta over the wicket. This is turned off the hips by Alsop for a single. 35 for 3. Well, it's one of those where we saw the umpire go and have a chat, but of course there's no means of communication up here. Didn't think that all that much of it. But a few more to the total. Fuller currently the top scorer for the visiting outfit, 14 from 10. Here comes Murta. Outside off stump, dot ball.
Tell you what, Tim Murta's going to bowl 3 overs here and Helm's going to bowl 3. It's not often you see 2 bowlers bowling in the power play anymore, 3 at both ends. But that just goes to show how well Middlesex have bowled.
I was going to say they're normally pummeled out of the attack at some point. At least one of them is. Batters pick one to go after, try and create a platform. They bowled so well in tandem. It's just prodded down for a single. Some muted applause. A few claps from the Hampshire balcony. I think they know there's batters that have their pads on waiting to come in. They've got a huge task here at hand to chase down Middlesex's total of 142. Final ball then. The 6th over. Tim Murta, top of his crease. Full toss, whipped into the onside. Nicely fielded by Souter out a deep square leg, and it means that Hampshire finished the power play, finished the 6th over with a single, and therefore Hampshire now 37 for 3. Hampshire at the end of the power play, 37 for 3. Middlesex at the same stage in their first innings of 43 for 1, just the wicket of Max Holden to have departed. So Middlesex on the upper hand here. I think the wickets column is probably the one that is the most important at this stage. And I want to keep those tumbling, as we're going to see a change of bowling for the first time in this second innings, and it's going to be Miguel Cummins taking things up, taking over from Tom Helm at the pavilion end. Tom Alsop on strike. Cummins right arm over. Nice and full, driven but not timed. Stephen Finn fielding at long on. I wonder if we'll see him having a little spell from the nursery end in a moment or two's time.
Yeah, new role for the skipper. Not used to not opening the bowling. I'm sure Miguel Cummins as well probably prefers the new ball in his hands, especially in 4-day cricket. This is his first T20 game since Middlesex's only win against Essex a couple of games ago.
Cummins to Fuller. Rose a bit quicker on him than I perhaps Fuller thought. Nice dot ball then.
That really hit the stickers of the bat, that did. Good hard length from Miguel Cummins. Good start by him. Good full delivery to start off with, and then hitting a hard length. He's got 1 wicket in 3 games this season, economy rate over 10, so he'll be looking to improve on those stats, that's for sure, after a good Bob Willis trophy.
Cummins once again pushing Fuller onto his back foot. Does well to guide it into the offside, keep it down. Very vocal there in the field today. Middlesex can sense they're on top. They'll want to keep that momentum, keep those wickets tumbling. Hampshire by no means out of it yet.
Quite noticeable that both Miguel Cummins and Tom Helm have got a decent amount of bounce from this pavilion end. Didn't really see Shaheen Shah Afridi or any of the Hampshire seamers getting that amount of bounce. So positive signs for Middlesex.
Alsop plays it off his gloves. A couple of bounces before it meets the keeper. Both Hampshire batters now in double figures, starting to build a little partnership. 26 runs between the two now. It's getting a bit irritating for the home side. Here comes Cummins. Nicely played off the back foot by Alsop. Sauter has lots of ground to make on that cover point boundary, and he makes it in the end. Stops the ball before it reaches the boundary rope. Nice bit of fielding. 41 for 3. Cummins again. Bangs it into the turf. Nicely pulled shot by Alsop. Didn't quite time it. But keeps that scoreboard ticking over then. After 7 overs, Hampshire find themselves 42 for 3. Middlesex targets. They've made 142. Interesting match settling into here. Middlesex still on top, but Hampshire forming a nice, useful partnership.
Lively start of that by Cummins. Neither Hampshire batsman looked very comfortable against him there. Some steepling bounce. And we now see, for the first time, the leg spin of Nathan Sauter. Could be a very important role for him today with no Luke Holman around, so he's the only spin option. He is the senior spin option anyway. Bowled very well against Surrey, 2 for 16 in that game. So quite a bit of turn. Whether this pitch will be as conducive, we're not quite sure.
Also up there, pinning the ball down to cover point. A single off the first ball of Sauter's spell. News down from Canterbury, Sussex, I'm afraid to say, for Middlesex and Hampshire fans, I guess, are cantering away. Luke Wright is 40 not out. He's having another fine season, as per usual. Sussex skipper. And they're 64 for 1 after 7 overs, chasing just 141. So Sussex in a good position as Sauter into the right-handed filler, pulling away down to square leg. Another single. Another rotation of that scoreboard. Cut nicely by Alsop to cover point.
Yeah, I really do think that Sauter could be a key man today. Mason Crane found a bit of turn when he was on. Sauter's the only bowler who offers something a bit different really for Middlesex, with the 4 right arm seamers.
Thick inside edge, trails away to short fine leg. Sauter there thought he was in with a chance, just about evaded the leg stump. Just the 1 run, 46 for 3. Finn places himself at backward square, backward point even. This is aerial for a moment, but it's found the gap. Wide gap between long on and deep mid wicket. Furthest part of the field. But Alsop's hit it with enough strength to find its way to the boundary edge, and it means the Hampshire bring up their 50 of 47 balls. Run rate hovering between 6s and 7s. And this is past the outside edge, and there's an appeal for a stumping. I wonder if Sauter first appealed for caught behind, then the stumping, but neither was given. Nothing on it, but a dot ball nevertheless. 50 for 3 then after 8 overs. Alsop there on 20, Fuller on 18. Middlesex hunting down to break this annoying partnership now.
Yeah, it's worth 38 now, this partnership between these two. It's been steady without being spectacular, but that's what Hampshire need at the moment to get back in the game and put themselves in a good position to chase down this score of 142.
Miguel Cummins, aerial shouts of catch as it hovers just beyond the reach of backward point, hung in the air a little bit. Couldn't quite get there in time. It's the man on the cover point boundary that makes the ground. 1 added to the total, 51 for 3. feelers aren't doing Middlesex viewers a disservice. I mean, Matt, you picked up 3 wickets in your 5-over spell, and I'm so far yet to find my first.
Come on, Izzy. Just get us 1. We'll take 1.
Cummins might help me. Played off the hips by Alsop, looking for the 2. They're going to come back pretty quickly. It's going to be fine. An appeal for a run out, but I think Alsop made his ground. That was pretty quick between those wickets.
Tom Alsop is rapid. I must say, I thought he was second favourite there when the ball was in Dan Lincoln's hand. Throw wasn't a bad one either, but he got across the 22 yards very quickly indeed. It is a long way out there, so you can get 2 out on that side towards the grandstand. This has been a good start by Cummins.
Here he comes again. Just played backward a point. Sliding stop. Brings another 1 to the total. That one for 2 that Middlesex made, it's one of those that absolutely I think Middlesex have got the upper hand right now, but it's not so big a total that Hampshire, even when they were 3 down for not many early on, was sort of completely out of the game. Let's hope yet. Makes it for all the more an intriguing contest as Fuller plugs it into the onside, and it brings his score into the 20s. He's on 20 now from 18. Alsop there 23 from 23, runnable. This is the partnership that needs breaking, and breaking pretty quickly to put Middlesex back on a more comfortable footing. Cummins pulled by Alsop along the ground into the hands of Fine Leg. Helm out there. Big blue towel protruding from his trousers. A sunny, warm, dry day here in London. Breeze picking up once more. But the sun shining throughout, a few clouds dotted around the sky. Lots of cricket to be played. Fuller on strike. Full, dug out nicely, only so far as mid-off. We had a thought there, not even, had a thought about shying at the stumps. As they came through a quick single, decided against it, and it means that after 9 overs, Hampshire find themselves 57 for 3. Hampshire then 57 for 3 after 9 overs, chasing Middlesex's 142, and for the first time this afternoon from the familiar nursery end we're going to see Middlesex captain Stephen Finn.
Having a great tournament is Middlesex's skipper. 9 wickets at an average of 12, economy rate 6.75. He's right up there with the leading wicket takers in the competition.
Bowling to Fuller first up, and it's wide down the leg side, signalled as much by the umpire.
I wonder how Steve Finn is going to bowl here. We saw against Surrey on a slow pitch that was taking turn. He bowled a lot of cutters, a lot of slower balls. It seemed to work for him as well on that occasion. He took 2 for 21 in the end. Is he going to do something similar here today, or does he feel like there's more pace in this pitch? As we've seen with Tom Helm and mid or Cummins, you can trouble the batsman with it.
Full driven, only so far as extra cover. Still hearing that encouragement from the fielders. 1 wicket will make all the difference here. 58 for 3. Plugged back over the bowler's head. 4 runs, a couple of bounces, and into the advertising hoarding behind Stephen Finn. It's a nice looking shot, just over pitch slightly there for the Middlesex captain. That's 4 to the total, 4 more to that of Fuller as well, and it's a 50 partnership between these two. Alsop's contributed 25, Fuller 17 of 38 deliveries. And it's gone from mildly irritating to possibly threatening. Finn, back of a length, hasn't got hold of this, and the ball is hung in the air but landed just short. Dan Lincoln running in from the mid-wicket boundary. Didn't get hold of it at all there, Fuller, because the field is pushed so far out and that boundary is pretty far down that leg side. It fell safe. 63 for 3 then, Hampshire. 143 needed for the win. Approaching the halfway mark. Finn to Alsop, pushing him onto his back foot, just the single, pushed out to mid-wicket. So that the last wicket to fall came in the very beginning of the 4th over. So it's been a while. Middlesex a due one, that's what you might say. Due a wicket. At least they like to think so. Real effort ball there from Finn. Short. Banging it down into the turf, but even that one, it's sort of slow and older pitch. Gave Fuller a bit of time, again not quite timing it, but enough for the single. 8 of this opening Finn over so far. Nicely played off the legs by Alsop. So a single to end the over, and it means that at the halfway mark, Hampshire chasing 143 to win. They find themselves 66 for 3.
Yeah, it's quite even actually at the halfway point. Middlesex was 68 for 2, Hampshire 66 for 3. So not a whole load in it at the moment. The problem that Middlesex have is that 142 is not a whole load of runs to play with. So if these two continue for another 3, 4, 5 overs, they could be in a bit of trouble. Nathan Souter is back into the attack. He's switched ends, coming in from the pavilion end this time. See if that brings him a bit more luck. Just the 1 over so far. A reverse sweep immediately from Alsop. Doesn't get it. Does get a leg by. Maybe a bit too full. Maybe saw the gap, wanted to beat the man at short third man. A legitimate option, that's for sure. Single to the total. And Hampshire just chipping away now at this target. These two doing a good job for their team, just getting them back into it. And they could get 2 here. That's the call from Tom Alsop. They are going for 2. He's quick, Alsop. And Fuller's quick enough to get back as well. So they've really worked the bowlers around well over the last few overs. Haven't hit a whole load of boundaries, but they haven't needed to. 2 for Alsop, 3 for Fuller. That will ease the nerves, certainly, in the Hampshire dressing room. They will feel this target's within reach now. Reverse sweep again, misses again. Simpson takes and whips off the bails, as he has done numerous times during this innings. Once to spectacular effect when he stumped Joe Weatherly off the bowling of Tim Murtagh. Now he goes the other way, and the little lap sweep. He's going to get 2 again, is Tom Alsop. So he's manipulating the field very well here. Going at a runner ball so far, but doing a good job for his team. Down the track this time, gets to the ball before it pitches. toe ends it. Still gets a single out to Miguel Cummins at long on. So that is the end of Murtaugh's second over. 73 for 3 off 11. 70 to win off 54. As the players take a brief break to sanitise. Who are the favourites right now, do you reckon, Izzy?
Ooh, that's a good question. I haven't got a Middlesex hat on at the moment, so maybe that will inform my decision. No, one thing I think has been really interesting to observe between these two batters is that because it is a sort of slower pitch, because that sort of the par total probably is a little bit lower than you perhaps be used to here at Middlesex, at Lords, they can afford to rotate the strike. It doesn't need to be done in boundaries. They saw that from the Middlesex innings. And I think the biggest danger for them really was just those regular wickets falling. And yet now we're just seeing an irritating partnership because it just keep on plugging, chipping away. It's not being done in big blows, but they don't need to.
Alsop tries to heave the first ball of Stephen Finn's second over into the stands out at the mound stand. Doesn't get all of it, gets a single.
Hampshire almost have the liberty of having seen how difficult it is to reach a competitive total in hefty blows, that they can sort of rest more assured that they won't come up short if they do just play it sensibly, play it round, keep rotating the strike.
Bouncer from Finn, well hooked by Fuller. Bit of work to do in the deep, and it's done well to keep Hampshire down to 1.
And that's a danger for Middlesex, is where they want to try and up the risk factor for Hampshire, but these two batters don't need to. They can play comfortably, they can play within their limits.
Pace off from Finn. Suspect we might see a bit more of that in his final few deliveries. The issue for Middlesex right now is that they just haven't got that many runs to play with. So once you do get a partnership like this, you do have to break it, because if you don't and they bat for 10 overs or so, the game can be gone.
And that's it. I think it really is. It's wickets going to win the match here for Middlesex. So I almost suggest they need to take a few more risks, even if that does mean a few more runs coming from it.
Bouncer again from Finn. Hooked in the air again, just short of Max Holden, who returns the ball to John Simpson. Another single. Having said that, hasn't quite got to panic stations just yet. They still need to go, what is it, just under 8 and over. Required rate 7.9 at the moment, so a couple of good overs, and all of a sudden the pressure is back on these two batsmen. If you can get the economy required up to 9 or so. That's a good bit of fielding there. Excellent from Nathan Souter at gully. Sorry, Max Holden rather. Very good, saved 4 there.
Yeah, really athletic there from the young Middlesex batter. Flying to his right. Certainly stopped the 4.
Can Finn finish off strong in this over? The final ball of the 12th. Goes short again. Another pull shot. Out to Holden again. And another single. So, saw that a few times in that over. 79 for 3 after 12. So it's really bubbling up nicely, this game, isn't it? Could be a really tense and tight finish, with both sides desperately needing to win this game to close the gap to 3rd place in this South Group. They're both off the pace at the moment. Middlesex 3 points behind, Hampshire 4 points. Tim Murtaugh back on for his 4th over. Big hack from Fuller. Mercer's been excellent so far. 3 overs, 1 for 17 on his return to the T20 side. Sure, he wasn't expecting to play too much white ball cricket this year. Hasn't played a T20 since 2016. But it's a selection that's worked out so far. He was brought in with Luke Holman pulling out early, having sprained his ankle in the warm-up. Slower ball. Murtagh, no single there. Eskenazi's very tight there at a sort of short cover. Murtagh showing a bit of variation, as you have to in T20 these days, particularly in the middle overs. He's got 3 men out on the boundary on the leg side. Long off and a man out on the offside. Also trying to go over the top of the short, fine leg there, doesn't quite get it.
Interesting mind games, tactics there from Stephen Eskenazi, just hearing him shout from his position at extra cover, keep them under a runnable, required run rates hovering between 8s and 9s per over, so they can't do it in singles. And Eskenazi just making sure the Hampshire duo are aware of that.
Get out to the leg side, just a single. They won't mind too much if it's just singles, Middlesex. This run rate is just creeping up slowly over the last few balls. I guess they'll also look at the Hampshire batting lineup and think, well, there isn't a whole load left. You've got the likes of Lewis McManus, Ian Holland, who are all-rounders, and then pretty much it's the bowlers, Wood, Stevenson, Crane, Afridi. Works into the leg side, there's Alsop, looks for 2, but he's not going to get them. That one straight to Dan Lincoln. This has been a good over so far by Tim Murtagh. This will be his final delivery on his comeback to the side. He's done a really good job so far. He'll want to finish off without a boundary here, maybe even a wicket, who knows. Big shot from Fuller. Has he cleared the man? No, he has not. Straight down the throat of Martin Anderson. And finally, Middlesex have the breakthrough.
Yeah, brilliant wicket from Middlesex. Just at the moment they need it. This partnership had almost lasted a full 10 overs between Fuller and Alsop. It was certainly very irritating indeed. It spanned, what was it, 72 runs between the two of them. But Middlesex, all the while knowing that as that run rate maintained itself above 6 runs per over, they couldn't carry on really Hampshire doing what they were doing, which was playing the ball around. We haven't seen many boundaries so far in this game at all, certainly not in the Hampshire innings. And I feel that they knew, or at least they wanted to make sure Hampshire knew, that at some point they were going to have to start accelerating. And Fuller there, perhaps just trying to get things going. Couldn't get hold of the ball fully, and I mean it was taken nicely on the boundary by Anderson, and Murtagh takes his 2nd wicket, and it means that his figures read 2 for 20 off his 4 overs.
Great return to the side for the veteran Tim Murtagh. He'll be very happy with his day's work. Lewis McManus, the new batsman for Hampshire, their wicketkeeper, 25 years old, 56 runs at an average of 11, strike rate 84 in this year's competition, so he hasn't had too much of an opportunity, hasn't scored particularly quickly either when he's come in. This is a crucial innings required of him now for Hampshire. Cummins having switched ends, beats the bat of Alsop straight away, and that required rate inching up towards 9 runs and over now. Middlesex will hope to use that wicket to really keep dragging that run rate down and pushing the required rate up. It really was a crucial wicket, that. Alsop goes across his stumps, pulls straight, to long on. They take 2. Good running again. He has run well as Tom Alsop. Playing a similar knock to the one he played against Sussex actually on Thursday. He's on 36 of 38 today. Not scoring as quickly as he did on Thursday, but he played the major innings then, made 43. Didn't go on. Hampshire lost the game. He's pulled this time. Is that going to clear the man? Yes, it is a 6 for Tom Alsop. Lovely pull shot, targeting the short boundary.
Yeah, big crack of the bat there from Alsop. Very quick hands, rising onto his back foot. There's 2 fielders out there, one at deep backward square, one at deep mid wicket. It's a shorter boundary, certainly. You got enough pace on it, enough height for it to clear the boundary rope and cascade into the advertising hoardings.
First 6 of the Hampshire innings, that. Came at a good time as well. This time he's driving square as Alsop, straight to Dan Lincoln on the offside boundary. So he gets the strike, gets the single, gets McManus back on strike for his first ball.
Yeah, you certainly get the feeling with the way in which also has played this over that he knows that he has to take on this Middlesex attack. It's a slightly weaker middle to lower order for Hampshire. Lots to do then for the young opener.
Oh, good start by Cummins there. Squared up McManus, thick outside edge. They went straight to gully. Middlesex would like to bowl a few balls at the new batsman here. Just dot him up a little bit. Keep that required rate hovering around towards 9 runs and over. Bouncer. McManus trying to flip it over the offside. Doesn't make contact. 92 for 4 with 6 overs to go in this game. Required rate now 8.5. Just have a feeling this could be a last baller. Or at least a last overer.
I've had a tie here before. We've seen 2 so far in this competition. Certainly not unheard of. We always like a sort of low-scoring thriller. Spice things up a bit in a tournament or format that's more known for its big hitting.
Souter in for his 3rd over. Alsop, what a catch that is! Nathan Souter, one-handed, diving away to his right. And he has got rid of Tom Alsop on 43. That is a brilliant caught and bowled.
What a big wicket, Alsop there, top scorer for Hampshire, and what a way to do it. It was one of those where you thought he'd do well just to stop the ball, parry the ball from going down to the boundary edge, but to not only stop it, but hold on to it, tumbling to his right. That's cracking cricket and a really important wicket for Middlesex. They've got Hampshire now 92 for 5.
Well, 43, obviously the bogey number for Tom Alsop. He's got that 2 innings in a row now. And twice in a row he's got a start and not been able to quite lead his team over the line. That's now going to be left to Lewis McManus and the incoming batsman Ian Holland, who can certainly hold a bat. He opens the batting in first class cricket, sometimes opens the batting and the bowling. He's played 8 ODIs for the USA, a couple of 50s, averages 30 in that format. So he's certainly no mug. But these two under a lot of pressure now. That was an absolutely outstanding grab from Nathan Souter. Ball was hit hard and low by Tom Alsop. So not only did he have to dive, he had to almost scoop it off the ground. Big moment. Holland trying to lap sweep first ball. The ball down leg side given a wide by Rob Bailey. Seemed too far away from the leg stump.
Yeah, delayed signalling of the wide, because I think it did turn a fair bit.
Same again. This time he makes contact, nice and fine. Has he got enough to get it to the boundary? No, that's a good bit of fielding down there. Looks like Jack Davies. Good enough to prevent the 3. That certainly saves 1. So short fine leg goes in now to try and block off that shot. Got a deep square leg, deep mid wicket, and a long on the leg side. Dragged down by Souter. Finds the man at deep mid wicket, who's Dan Lincoln. Good bit of fielding, just the 1 there. And again, Middlesex will feel now with 2 new batsmen at the crease, they can just hopefully drag that run rate down a bit further. Full this time, driven out to the man on the cover boundary. 1 more to the total. But a good opportunity for them anyway over the next 6 to 8 balls, just to line up a few dot balls. Another single taken by McManus. 99 for 5. It's just hung out on the offside by Souter. 1 more single to the total, so exactly 100 for 5 are Hampshire. We've got 5 overs to go, 43 needed.
Stephen Finn then to resume from the nursery end. Holland on strike, he's on 5. Tries to pull this into the onside. It's risen on him pretty quickly. He hasn't got much on it at all, but enough for a single. So interesting comparison here, really. Looking at Middlesex after 15 overs, they were 105 for 4. Hampshire found themselves 100 for 5. So they're not that far off the pace. I think more to the point is who is in. There's Finn to McManus, just plugs it down to backward as square. I think it's the fact that we've seen sort of the experience and the informed players have now come and gone for Hampshire. You'd suggest perhaps that their middle to lower order slightly weaker than what Middlesex had to offer. So a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of Holland and McManus at this juncture. Holland tries to pull it, and there's going to be a caught behind, I think it is. Outside edge, trying to pull. Easy enough catch there to the keeper, John Simpson. And Finn finds himself with the first wicket for him of this match today. Hampshire 102 for 6.
Clever bit of bowling and an aggressive bit of bowling from Steve Finn there. He bumped Holland the previous delivery. He looked uncomfortable, so he thought, why not go again? And this time he got the glove and it just looped through to John Simpson. And that's another big wicket for Middlesex, because there's not a whole load left to come for Hampshire, really. Ian Holland, a genuine all-rounder. Now you've got Chris Wood coming to the crease, who's he's a bowler really, isn't he? He can bat, but he's not a genuine all-rounder, so that puts more pressure on Lewis McManus.
Hasn't batted either so far in this tournament so far, Chris Wood. So a big ask then for the Hampshire bowler. Here comes Finn, bowling to Wood. Pushes him onto the back foot. Out to cover point for a single. Run rate, the required run rate now is above 9 per over, so certainly not going to do it in singles. Not a rotation of the strike, going to need a few hefty blows from Hampshire if they're going to be there or thereabouts. Finn now into his third over. He's got another one under his belt still there. McManus on strike, tries to pull this into the onside, shouts of catch as the fielder out at mid-wicket does really well to make good ground and get to the pitch of the ball there, Max Holden. I mean, it hung in the air, but it was struck well and he didn't really have a chance of catching it. But more getting to the bounce, preventing it running away to the boundary and indeed ensuring that Hampshire only come back for 2.
He did really well there because that was an awkward bounce just in front of him. Those can very easily just squeeze under the body for 4.
McManus waits, pulls again. Miguel Cummins diving to his left, it's evaded him. Lincoln out at cover point manages to get there and they come back for another 2. 107 for 6 then after 16 overs. Middlesex having posted 142. Hampshire needing 35 runs off these last 4.
All about pressure now, Izzy. Which side's going to handle this pressure better than the other? For Hampshire, unfortunately, the guys that have got to handle it are guys that are not used necessarily to batting in these kinds of positions. McManus may well be, but the other guys won't be. Whereas the Middlesex seamers and Nathan Souter are more used to it.
Floating full delivery from Souter, bowling his final over of his spell. Just the single, 108 for 6. 35 to win. 23 balls to do it in. Back of a length. Wide into the offside. Plugged by McManus. Another single. That's alright as far as Middlesex are concerned. 34 now to win. Fuller, flighted, missed by Wood. Trying to tonk that to Kingdom Come.
I think Wood fancies a bit of Souter here, fancies the spinner, knows he's only got 3 more balls of spin in this innings.
This one has got more of it, but straight to the fielder, extra cover. Really good stop there from Eskenazi, took it cleanly, tumbling to his right. I think he's rather pleased with that one. This one, Wood's got hold of, and it's just made its way over the boundary edge at Cow Corner, just beneath our eyesight or our eye line, obscured by the machinery in front of us, but it's gone for 4, signalled for 4 by Lincoln the fielder, in fact. I think Wood needed that for sort of confidence more than anything else, to show that he could get hold of that. Final ball then of this 17th over, plugged back at the bowler, and that's a good over for Middlesex. Despite the boundary, it means that with 3 overs left, they now need to go at 10s, Hampshire, 113 for 6.
I would say that the pendulum perhaps swinging back towards Middlesex here. 10 and over normally you'd say is gettable in T20, particularly in 3 overs. But you've got to think about who's out there as well. Chris Wood has come in and middled most of the deliveries he's faced. He's having a swing. But when the pressure's put on, is he going to be able to respond?
Finn then, his final over. Up and over, there's a man underneath it at cover point. He steadies himself there, Nathan Souter. It's in the sun, he's got cap and sunglasses on, and he takes it cleanly. And that's Finn's 2nd and Hampshire's 7th wicket then.
Short ball working for Stephen Finn. Worked in the previous over when he gloved Ian Holland to John Simpson. This time just outside the off stump, perhaps a bit more fortuitous. But McManus trying to go up and over. All he could do was hit it straight to the man on the boundary on the offside, Nathan Souter. So that is the last recognised batsman gone for Hampshire, you'd say. And it's going to be left to Chris Wood and the new batsman Ryan Stevenson to get them a bit closer to this total. And then after that, we've just got Shaheen Shah Afridi and Mason Crane. Middlesex definitely, you'd think, favourites at this point.
Finn then brings his tally of wickets to 11 in this tournament so far. By far and away, Middlesex's leading wicket taker. This is pulled. Another man underneath it. Are we going to see 2 wickets and 2 balls? We are. Luke Wood pulling into the onside. And the batters having crossed. It was Wood to fall. And Middlesex now very much in the ascendancy. 113 for 8. Finn has his third.
Clever bowling again by Steve Finn, just bowling it short with plenty of protection out on the leg side, but you'd have to say slightly questionable decision making from the Hampshire batsman with men out there, long boundary as well. It's going to be very hard to clear him, and that has gifted Middlesex another wicket really. A couple of gifts in this over. Stephen Finn won't complain, that's more wickets for him. He's charging up the leading wicket takers list in this competition. He's bowled really well today, he's recognised the situation well as well, and Middlesex now on the verge really of getting a crucial win.
Stephen Finn then on his hat-trick, on a hat-trick. Teed off nicely here, 113 for 8, 2 new batters in. Stevenson on strike, and this is plugged into the onside, it's fallen short, it hung in the air. He tried to pull it, didn't time it. But the man at mid-wicket or mid-on couldn't get there in time. And the hat-trick goes. But Middlesex won't mind that. 2 wickets left to get. Hampshire now requiring to score at just under 12 and over. 2 new batters in. Middlesex feeling comfortable. This is just stepping away and on the back foot played into the offside by Crane. They'll come back for 2. 116 for 8. Sussex have defeated Kent in their match down at Canterbury. As Finn is through and a single taken by Mason Crane to mid-on.
And that's probably a good result for Middlesex really. It means that Sussex will go above Kent and go top with 9 points. Kent will have 8 points. But sorry, that's not a good result for Middlesex. They wanted Kent to win. Yeah, unfortunately, means they're going to not close the gap at all.
Final ball of this Finn over, driven down to mid-off for a single to end that one, and it means that with 2 overs left, Hampshire need 25 to win. Middlesex needs 2 wickets. And you say it's very much in their favour, but yes, that table looking a little bit irritating perhaps for the home side of Middlesex. If and when they do win this match, they'll skip ahead to 6 points. Kent top of the table with 8, Surrey underneath them with 8. But Sussex having beaten, Sussex are now top of the table with 9. So you've got 9, 8, 8, and then Middlesex with 6. That gap a little bit irritating.
Yeah, although they will have both Kent and Surrey in their sights.
Yes.
Just 2 points, 1 win away. But of course they've got to get over the line first, and that isn't a given just yet.
Got ahead of myself.
Things have happened in T20.
Stevenson, tall man, he's on strike. Cummins is going to bowl from the pavilion end, right arm over. Orange soles away from us. And we've got a piece of a bat flying off into the offside. The ball kind of...
Something flew off.
Yeah, stayed still, and I wasn't quite sure whether it was ball or piece of wood that was flying away towards point, but something flew off. The ball stayed marginally where it was, and they got the single. Slower ball into the onside, down to the cow corner boundary. Well fielded there by Dan Lincoln. Nice little partnership in the field with him and Nathan Souter. Brings the ball back in. They come back for 2. 1-2-1 for 8. 22 required to win. 10 balls left. Cummins to Crane, gives himself room, carves it into the offside. They're going to come back for 2, yes they are. $20 to win. 9 balls left. 3 in this over.
So I'm just trying to think what areas Mason Crane might target here, looking at the field. You've got a man out sweeping on the offside. You've got a deep square leg. They're now moving a third man a lot wider to try and cut that off.
Cummins, slower ball, fuller ball. They're looking for the single. Going to be a run out here. I think there is a nifty piece of footwork by Simpson behind the stumps. Miscommunication between the two batters. Crane wanted the run. He was sent back by Stevenson, but it was too late by that point. And a really, really neat bit of fielding there by John Simpson, running up to the stumps and kicking the ball into them. And that's a wicket that will really settle the nerves of Middlesex, as they have Hampshire now 123 for 9.
Just one ball away now, Middlesex. Hampshire imploding slightly in these last few overs. Been some slightly soft dismissals, you'd have to say, but a lot of that was brought about by some excellent bowling at the death from the Middlesex seamers and Nathan Souter. They've really ramped up the pressure on Hampshire, and so far they've not been able to handle it. Shaheen Shah Afridi, the number 11 batsman for them, and it looks a tall order now for the visitors, with just 8 balls to go in this game. Another 20 needed.
Yeah, Shaheen, another batter, Hampshire batter who hasn't been called upon so far in this tournament. Here comes Cummins, and this has gone straight up in the air. Surely someone's going to come underneath it, and indeed it is the man at mid-on, taken safely enough by the captain, Steve Finn. And Shaheen Shah Afridi has fallen first ball, and Middlesex have defeated Hampshire here. Hampshire all out for 123, a comfortable enough win in the end, a low-scoring match, and a much-needed win for Middlesex to keep their hopes alive in this tournament.
That is a really good performance by Middlesex with the ball. Never easy to defend a score like that. And the pitch may be a bit slow, but I don't think it was a minefield by any stretch of the imagination. But Middlesex got crucial early wickets through Tim Murtagh and Tom Helm, and that really set them on the way. It meant that they were able to withstand a very good partnership between James Fuller and Tom Alsop, but because they got those early wickets, Middlesex, they were already ahead of the 8 ball, and then broke that partnership eventually. That was a key wicket, the key wicket of Fuller, and then after that, when the Middlesex bowlers put the pressure on the Hampshire lower order, it was Middlesex who came out on top, and in the end, they've won that game extremely comfortably by 20 runs.
Yeah, well, it was the wickets to fall. We saw the first 3 wickets fall in the power play. In fact, almost inside the first 3 overs. I think the 3rd wicket falling in the first ball of the 4th over, and it put Middlesex very much on top. You talk about that partnership there in the middle order between Fuller and Alsop, and it extended almost for 10 overs, and it was just getting a little bit irritating. But then when we saw that breakthrough and we saw Fuller go, you really felt as though Middlesex should at least see it home from there. Stephen Finn, I tell you what, I mean, he's soaring away in terms of wickets. I think he's got 12 now for the competition, by far and away the leading wicket taker. He's almost transforming himself in the sort of the back end stage of his career. Is that allowed to say that, from a sort of quick, fast opening bowler to somebody who appears generally in the 8th, 9th over, but is really doing a job for his side.
And today perhaps in an unfamiliar role for him as well, because with Tim Murtagh coming back into the side, he gave him the new ball alongside Tom Helm, which was a great decision in the end because they both bowled brilliantly. Finn held himself back, came in the middle overs and did a fantastic job of just banging the ball into the pitch, making the batsman try and hit out to the long boundary. A lot of the Hampshire batsmen tried to take him on, and in the end it was a bad decision. He picked up some crucial wickets in those middle and end overs.
I think one thing we definitely did say, that going into the second innings with Middlesex scoring 142, their lowest score that we've seen so far at Lords this season in the T20 Plus, it was going to need the efforts of a bowler picking up the Knight Frank player of the match if Middlesex were to win. And indeed, I'd like to thank viewers for watching, thank viewers for voting for the Knight Frank player of the match, because of course, who could it not be than the captain himself, Stephen Finn, picking up Knight Frank player of the match. That is a convincing win for Middlesex. They've beaten Hampshire here. We've seen
crucial win as well. They absolutely had to win that game, really. You'd say now Hampshire possibly out of the running now, unless they win all 4 of their final games, they might have half a chance. But that was a big win for Middlesex with just 1 home game left, and then finishing with the 3 away games to beat the side who was below them was really quite important today. And the manner in which they did it as well will give them a lot of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. So going into this match, we thought that Middlesex would need to win 4 of their last 5 matches to get to the knockout stages. Well, the first task has been done. Again, it was a good opening partnership between Eskenazi and Holden. Eskenazi in the end making 33, top scoring in fact for Middlesex with 33. It was John Simpson down towards the end that, as he does so often, 30 from 19 not out, but really it was the men with the ball that secured this win for Middlesex. Tim Murta making his white ball return after 4 years without having played for Middlesex in the format, picking up 2 for 20 from his 4. And Stephen Finn, the Knight Frank player of the match, 3 for 27 from his 4 overs. So thank you everybody for watching. We're back in action next in Chelmsford. No, we're not. We're back here in action at Lords on Monday evening for the final T20 Blast home match. So please do join us then. Once again, the live stream from Middlesex. Thanks very much for watching and have a wonderful evening.